What's up, everybody, and welcome to Shapes of Gaming, the weekly conversational podcast all about video games that's unedited, unfiltered, and unhinged. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Stenson, Neocharge on PSN, and joining me for episode number 8, the 8-bit episode, is the retro gaming encyclopedia himself, Bob Harriman, Leon Lyon Hartley on PSN. And for the first time in Shapes of Gaming history, we have a guest on our show. And coming all the way from my home state, Caleb Shiff, admiralmerps on PSN. So welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Thanks. I can't complain because I'm here. And I didn't even have to fly out there to join you. We got this thing called technology in 2025. It's the damnedest. But yeah, no, I'm glad to be on. This is cool. We were going to try to get 5 other people so we could have 8 on your 8-bit, but it didn't work out. So I'm going to try to stand in for the other 5. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. No, technology has advanced so much. I ran an older podcast and we always wanted to do this, but we finally got it to work and it's all remote. And I love it. So happy to have you and happy for you to be our very first guest here on Shapes of Gaming. So welcome to the 8-bit episode. I know you're a big fan of retro games and the 8-bit era. And we were doing a little audio test here for an episode we may or may not be recording tomorrow. A little special surprise for all of you. But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been a really good friend of mine for a while. And tell us a little bit about how you game, your gaming history, and who the hell are you?
Who the hell am I? Man, if I knew that, my wife would have left me a long time ago. So I've been playing since I was 3 years old. I just turned 40 on the day the Switch 2 released. So happy birthday, me. First system I ever touched was an Atari. I have an older sister, and we used to play games like Q*bert and even the garbage ET, just all the jank ones, and some of the good ones. I loved Q*bert personally. Grew up on like Pac-Man and stuff. But the very first best core memory I have as a gamer as a child would be the very first, The Legend of Zelda. And right after that would be Duck Hunt. I know that's weird. I used to play Duck Hunt with my grandmother, and she would just swear at the screen, and she was like the sweetest lady in the world. So that was interesting. But Zelda was like my first, oh my God, this is like magical stuff, And then of course Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 2, Mario 3, just every game, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, back to Mega Man 1, Solomon's Key. I could list all of them that I played as a child, and that they started to become special. Talked my grandfather into getting me a Super Nintendo by mistake, which was awesome. So he got me one. And then I basically had every successful console after that. And a few that aren't successful, like RIP Dreamcast. Love the Dreamcast, but sorry, Sega, you're a software developer now. But yeah, I mostly play everything except for sports games. Nothing against sports games. I just feel like if you're going to play a sport game, just go play the sport. I know that's not as easy to get like a football team together, but I'll just watch football instead. But like tennis and soccer are the only two that I will absolutely play sports games of. But nothing against them. Just I don't have time for that. I got RPGs to play. I've got narrative, story-driven games to play.
I've seen your top spin trophies.
Oh yeah, I know. I was playing with a friend of mine who was going through some shit. All right, and we played tennis in high school. So
what a good friend.
Yeah, but so I mean, really, there's not much I don't play, but Matt might be the only person that calls me on my shit. He's just like, "How did you do that? How'd you get that trophy? How'd you beat this game?" And I'm like, "Get good, nerd." I don't know. I've just been playing for so long, so.
No, it's insane, and you're one of the most talented gamers I know, and your trophy list is an attest to that. And yeah, it's crazy. We'll play the same game, and you're like, "Oh yeah, like I got all that, and I did all that," and I'm like, "How? How did you do that without a guide?" So yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah, so you're coming from my home state, Ohio, and it looks like you have a local brew as well.
I do. Well, I think so. I'll be honest. You guys are like beer connoisseurs. You guys know.
We just read
your stuff. I just think, oh, it tastes good, and then I just kind of stop after that. So I am drinking some BrewDog Elvis juice, and apparently I think they just recently changed the makeup of, like, I used to think it was strictly grapefruit, and now it says citrus IPA, and I can sort of taste hints of like orange and maybe some lemon in there. Not that that's a bad thing, but why they got to make why they got to ruin my grapefruit IPA? Like that was
Right.
why I don't even like IPAs, but this one, love it, very
Is it
good.
a juicy? Is it a juicy IPA?
It is. It's
Yep.
not nearly as hoppy as all the other ones that I kind of hate, because I'm a baby and I'm like, if I'm gonna have hops, I'm gonna drink a Pepsi. Like I would rather have that, like, but this is really good. Elvis Juice is awesome.
Juicies are a little more bearable because they have a less IBU. So imperial bitterness units, and the higher the
Uh-huh.
IBU, the more bitter it is. So I don't like IPAs, but I can do juicy IPAs. So
I feel you.
awesome. And is BrewDog in Ohio, or where's that brewery?
I I wish I knew. It
No,
probably I don't know. I could try to look.
no,
Here, let me
yeah,
see.
all good. It should be on the can.
Oh,
Bob,
yeah.
what are you drinking?
Well, I was getting ready for the show, and I said, "Oh crap, I need fresh beer because I've got only one in the house, and I'm not drinking that anytime soon. That's a special growler for a special occasion." And then I came across this little returning fan of mine. I'm starting to like him from Dewclaw, out here in the great state of Colorado. It's called the Pastryarchy. It is a cookies and cream white stout.
That's an incredible name.
Oh, I know. I read that and it kind of, I got to do it. They've got their sweet baby Jesus and sweet baby Java. It's like, all right, I see your theme here. And as long as your beer continues to be delicious, I'll buy in.
Yeah, awesome. So that sounds awesome. Cookies and cream that's a stout?
It's a stout, but it looks more like a traditional ale or even a brown. It's weird. I don't understand. It should be very dark and heavy.
Yeah.
Damn,
Gotcha.
son.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's definitely goes down smooth.
That does
Yes.
sound awesome.
Yes, it does. I have a returning beer that I've drank on the podcast before because I buy them in 6-packs and I have extra, and I just felt like I wanted to drink this one. This is from Red Leg Brewing, basically up the street from me, about 15 minutes, brewed in the beautiful city of Colorado Springs, and it is the Summer Punch. It's a fruit punch sour ale. So
Ooh.
delicious, very fruity, basically just berries, tangerine, mango, pineapple, all the things. Basically tastes like a alcoholic fruit punch, and I love it. And it's the second time I've had it on the podcast.
That
So
sounds awesome.
yeah, it's delicious. So yeah, this episode is going to be pretty special. It's our 8th episode, and Bob had an awesome idea to where we do our favorite 8-bit games of our childhood, essentially, because we're that age. We played 8-bit games in our childhood. Though I do have some modern entries that I want to talk about that I've played in my adulthood. Making some honorable mentions, but we're going to talk about some 8-bit games. That's our main topic, and yeah, we'll just get started. So, what have you been up to, Bob? How's your life been? And Caleb, how's your life been?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Bob. You first, buddy.
I appreciate that. No, it's been a while. My life's been pretty boring lately, if I'm going to be honest. Just came off of finishing a very very special game from this year, which we'll be definitely may or may not be talking about in extent. And it has affected me so much that I have to take a breather from gaming, especially with a very another big game coming right out. Kojima and your Death Stranding 2. You picked a great time this year. So it's been a lot of boring catching up on chores, doing the honeydew lists, making sure work's straight, all of that stuff. So when Death Stranding 2 comes and I go and pick it up from my local Best Buy, I come right back to the house, I unpackage it, and I go and I crack a couple of beers, and that's all you see of me for the next 48 hours. So outside of that, got some that Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering cards for Father's Day. So definitely looking forward to cracking a couple of those packs and ripping them open, and definitely let's meet up and do that, Matt, and see
Oh, yeah.
maybe we can get lucky to get that fat chocobo, please.
Friday. We're gonna do a little mountain road trip, and you're gonna crack packs. We're gonna both crack packs and visit a good friend of mine. So yeah, I'm excited.
That's awesome. I've been doing the same with the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. I haven't played in probably 25, 35 years. I honestly don't even know. It was a long time ago. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. Tried to play once in college with a friend, and I was like, I love these games. I don't know what's happening. So, but as soon as I saw the artwork of the Final Fantasy set and everybody I knew was sending me texts, they were like, I bet you're going to get back into Magic now. And I just like threw my wallet at the computer or at the wall. I was like, yep, that's it. So I've been right there with you with cracking those packs. It's so I will read the dumbest cards because I love all of them equally. I'm just like, this land card is from 14 and I was there. It's wild. I love it.
It's funny there, Caleb. I'm the same as you. I used to play Magic back in the day, was an old school guy. So when I come back and I read the cards and I go, what the hell is this ability kind of thing? I'm with you on that one. But because one of the worst things ever is I had a full base set of Magic of Urza Saga, which apparently is one of the hardest, like rarest sets now, and I have no clue what happened to it.
Oh no!
But you mentioned reading the cards. I wanted to show you this to you. It's audio only, so our viewers won't see it. But I got a special foil, and it made me laugh so hard because it's "Ride the Shoe Puff."
Yeah.
And at the bottom, the favorite text just says, "Ride the Shoe Puff, all aboard."
all aboard.
We can all hear it because we've all played
Right.
10 and we love it so much. And rides the shoe puff. Like, it's just so good that, the cards speak to you if you are a fan like we are. So this set was made for us to go broke and ruin our IRAs. That's why Magic the Wizards of the Coast did this.
I didn't know I was going to need a second mortgage, Wizards. Thanks.
Right. This set almost got me. I had some pre-order, but then I was like, oh, I can't. But I'm happy that you have some, Bob, and we're going to rip some. And you can just reap all the benefits. Whatever I pull, of course, is yours. I almost got some. I still might go to Unbound up the street. That's our local card shop. And grab some. But we recently ripped Destined Rivals for Pokemon. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I never got into Magic. I was always into Pokemon cards because of the game. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. And we ripped some during the state of play. And we were drinking. And I was like, dude, I'm doing like 3 of my favorite things at once. This is crazy. And it's a huge, it was so fun.
And then was the next day like the worst day of your life because you weren't doing those 3 things? Because that's what it was like for me when I opened these. And I was like, now life's terrible again. That's great.
Right. It was a bit of a high point, and then like everything that was a high bar and went back to a low point because the next day was, I think it was a couple days after Summer Game Fest, which unfortunately wasn't for us. And there were some good announcements, but we went over that on episode 7, I think. So a bit of a high point and then a bit of a low point, but Resident Evil 9 was cool. So
Resident Evil 9 was awesome. But to answer your other question, the only game I've been playing lately, kind of similar to what Bob was saying, after finishing the 1, I was like, man, I can't, everything I play after this is going to be garbage. I mean, like in comparison, and I don't want to be unfair. So I went back and I played some older, like I played Final Fantasy 2, the OG 2, on the Pixel remasters, which I like. So I wasn't upset, but like, I've just kind of been waiting for Death Stranding 2 to come out. I don't want to be in the middle of a big game, but I decided to pick up Indiana Jones and the Great Circle because, action game, I was interested enough and I love Indiana Jones as a character and the 3 movies that exist. I love those 3 movies that exist.
3 only.
The 3, but I got to say, I loved it. The gameplay, there was a little bit of jank, but props to Microsoft Studios. Well, not Microsoft Studios, but you know what I mean? How they were like, here, take this IP and do your thing instead of let's put games as a service and bullshit. Like the game was good. The narrative was one of my favorite stories. Like Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark's probably my favorite one. This one was like number 2. The story, I was like, this is really good. I was kind of upset it's not a movie, but just finished that today, actually. And by finished it, I mean got my platinum. I beat it last night, but I got my platinum today.
Oh.
And then texted you to say, hey, are we doing this? Are we doing this thing? So I'm pretty fresh off that.
Awesome. Congrats on that platinum.
Thank
So the
you.
story's better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that before. Kingdom of the what?
Dial
Yes,
of
it's way
Destiny.
better than that one.
It's like there's nothing after episode 6.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, Andor, even though technically that's before episode 6, but Andor, as far as releasing, that's the best Star Wars has been in over about 20 years.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I think that I definitely liked it more than the 2 follow-ups after the trilogy,
Gotcha.
for what it's worth. It was good.
Yeah, it's on my list and it's on my radar, but I'm in that like time period to where I don't want to start anything big.
Sure.
And I've just been playing Zelda Echoes of Wisdom on Switch 2.
Nice.
It's been awesome, but it's kind of like a little cozy game. It's not hard. It's one of the easiest Zeldas I've ever played, honestly. And it's just kind of that play when I want to. I'm honestly just getting my mind and body ready for Death Stranding 2.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just preparing because that I'm getting it day one. I'm playing it day one. It's going to be my entire July game because I'm probably going to sink 130 hours, maybe more, into it easily. Probably going to go for the platinum. And yeah, I've just been kind of filling space with Zelda. I hate to say that.
No, it's a good way to fill space, though. I mean, it's a good problem to have. But I feel you, man. It's just the limbo. I call it the limbo period. So
yeah, because you have to really schedule it. If you get into a game, you're gonna put down that game and not finish it because you're going to go into another game. So you have to gauge what games are. I'm putting everything down for this game and playing it, and you got to say, do I have enough time? Like I average about 25 hours a week on gaming, and I'm like, can I play the Liza P DLC? Probably. Do I want to put myself through that torture before going into a game like Death Stranding? Absolutely not. I need to be ready in mind, body, and soul, and I need to be calm and collected and ready for Death Stranding 2. Because, oh boy, they had a showcase, a part of Summer Game Fest, and they showed some gameplay. I just couldn't resist. I watched a little bit of it. I'm not going to go into it here because it is a little bit spoilery.
Yeah.
But it makes me more excited for the game. I was very excited, but dude, all I can say is the graphics, holy shit. They were showing some intro videos and I thought it was just real life.
Was it on a PS5 Pro, did they say, or do you know?
I think it was running on a PS5 Pro because I think that's all it launches on, right?
I think so.
Or PS5, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, Kojima's doing the testing, and he's always got the DualSense Edge wired into the PS5 Pro. He had a PS5 Pro dev kit covered up when he was making this game. So, yeah, it definitely runs optimized.
Sometimes they'll say like, on a PC, and I was just curious, emulating the hardware of PlayStation or something. But no, I'm really excited for this, and the fact that you watched part of it because I refuse. I stopped. I'm a weak man. I know if I started, I'm going to watch the whole hour and a half or whatever. I'm not going to do that. But I'm glad that you saw enough and you really liked it.
I was weak in the beginning starting it, and then I was like, no, I can't do this to myself. I want to be surprised. And I stopped it. So it's really cool until they go into the gameplay. They bring out the cast and everything. He talks about the development process. It doesn't get spoilery until he shows that intro vid. And then they show a ton of more gameplay that I refuse to watch. I'll just experience it in a week. It's coming out in a week. When this episode posts, it'll be exactly 1 week.
And that's
June 26th. Yeah. So I'm so excited for Death Stranding 2. But yeah, I've been playing Zelda. I got to play Zelda traveling because I just got back from the beach. I was in Myrtle Beach for my mom's 70th birthday.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very fun. I was there for a week. I got to experience traveling with the Switch 2, and I got to say, I was impressed. The battery is more than I thought it would be, but less than it should be.
Yeah.
I got about 4 hours out of it. And so I know when they inevitably go to the OLED, it's going to be better. But I was impressed. It lasted longer than I thought, and I had a blast with it. It was great. The Switch 2 power adapter charges it really quick. It's a 60 watt.
Oh,
It's
nice.
actually, yeah, it's really cool. I bought an extra one. I have it on the camera here.
Oh,
very good.
nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
It's only $35. It's a 60 watt USB power adapter, USB-C power adapter.
Mhm.
This will charge your MacBook. This will charge your headphones. This will charge your iPhone, if you have USB-C. Because I like consolidating my power consumption when I travel and just having one charger.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's great bang for your buck. It's a 60 watt. Do you know how much Apple charges for their 60 watt USB-C power adapter? It's like
Mm,
80
$60.
bucks.
$60.
It's like $80.
Hey, look at me.
Hey, that Apple tax right there, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is $35, and it's very compact too. It's half the size of the Apple adapter. Because I'm very intentional when I travel, and I minimalize as much as I can. And I kind of practice minimalism. I don't buy a lot. I buy stuff with high lifetime and value in it. And when I travel, I'm very minimalistic. One time I went to Ohio to visit family for like 5 days, and I took a laptop bag and I
Yeah.
just
wow.
packed
Impressive.
everything in it. Yeah. So it's great bang for your buck. It's a cool power adapter. So I got an extra one to travel with. But yeah, the Switch 2 was really great traveling. And Zelda, man, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom looks incredible on the new hardware. It's a brand new game. So
I will
I've
tell
been,
the listeners one little fun anecdote. When Matt came to visit, he's so minimalist that he forgot something at a gas station, and I had to go pick it up for him. True story.
That's right. I was road tripping that too. So I
Oh,
was
yeah.
even in my car.
I sent
Yeah, that
him
was
a
fun.
video of me throwing it into my trunk and holding it as ransom until he came to pick me up so that we could hang out. And
Yep.
it worked. He came over the next day. So,
Yep. And the PlayStation gods shined upon us and said, "Hey, there's a state of play this week," and we were like, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
watch
that
this
was really
thing
lucky.
together."
That was
Yeah,
really
that's when
lucky.
Ghost of Yote was announced.
Yeah.
So
We
yeah,
had Roosters before that and had a
we did.
beer or three. I don't remember. But
Yeah.
no, that was good. That was a good time. That's
Yeah,
how
hard.
minimalist he is. He leaves things
Yeah.
at gas stations and then buys me chicken.
Yep.
It makes me think. You ever heard of the George Carlin skit about traveling, where where you taking your house houses all of your stuff, and then when you go on vacation, you take a bag that's got all your shit, and then you're gonna go to the poolside. So then you got to take another bag that's got all your shit, and then it keeps going down the chain. But remember,
Oh, yeah.
folks, when it's somebody else's stuff, it's shit. But when it's your stuff, it's stuff. Kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another reason I've done minimalism is I've lived in 25 total places, and I'm not exaggerating.
Amateur.
25 different addresses.
That's
You have more than
nonsense.
25 different addresses?
Let's just say when I have to fill out a security clearance form, it gets really frustrating because it's like, oh crap. When I lived between here and here, what was the address? And then they'll ask silly questions like, "Who are your neighbors?" And I'm like, "I was there for 6 months. I don't even fucking know their names. I could tell you what race they were. Does that help?"
For a security clearance anymore, it might help. Who knows?
That's true. Clearance is hard to get. But yeah, I was so impressed with the Switch 2. It was an awesome experience, and unbelievably, this is usually the opposite when it comes to Nintendo, but I'm so impressed with the hardware and the technology and the technical prowess of the system.
Sure.
But I'm not impressed with the software that's being released dedicated for the Switch 2, which is Mario Kart World. We already talked about that on the last episode, and it's crazy, right? Nintendo's kind of flipping the script. All the old games that should have launched in this state are amazing. Is it worth getting a Switch 2? It depends on how much time you want to spend with the old games. It depends on if you played Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild or Scarlet and Violet or Echoes of Wisdom or any of the other games that have gotten patched. And I'm sure there's going to be more patches coming soon, but I don't know. The value isn't there if you're getting it to experience the cutting edge generational new games. I don't think it's there until Donkey Kong Bonanza looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I do. I have to say with the Switch 2 and the Switch 1, really part of the reason I think it exploded. And you guys touched on this before, I'm sure, but I really like to consider the Switch and Nintendo the everyman system. Like, it's just, if you have a family, if you don't have a family, if you like there's going to be an IP that you like in Nintendo. It might not be, knocking the doors down like the newest God of War, or like, an Elden Ring or something like that. But everybody likes at least a Zelda or a Mario or a Metroid or old school Donkey Kong Country, So I really think that Nintendo, when they lean into that, they do such a great job. And as far as the Switch 2 is concerned, I agree with you. I think the launch title, as much as Mario Kart World, like, it's great, it's fun, whatever, but it's not a reason to buy the system unless Mario Kart is your most favorite thing on planet Earth. Then I could make that argument. But I think, I don't know, Nintendo does like to do their system releases and then have like an extensive launch window. And even though we don't know the date yet for Metroid Prime 4, but dude, the minute that happens, we're both going to be, all three of us are going to be like, well, the Switch just paid for itself, because I am very happy when I get this game. Like, it's going to be worth it. I think it's gonna be worth it.
Is my system seller
for sure.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. That's how I've seen Nintendo for the last couple of years, and this is probably better for another cast, or another episode rather, should I say, is more about what this means for Nintendo, because most kids right now, particularly mine, they're playing the Genshins, they're playing the Fortnites, they're playing the whatever XYZs. Do you necessarily need a Switch to upgrade for that system? And then you got to start asking yourself that value proposition, especially as a parent, because beforehand the Wii sold itself. It literally printed money. You know that, Jake. It printed money at Wii Sports right there alone. I enjoyed Wii Sports. My mother enjoyed Wii Sports. Her mother, had she been alive, would have enjoyed Wii Sports, kind of a situation. Because when you had your brother-in-law come over, for example, what do? You drink beers and you play Wii Sports bowling.
You play the bowling. That was the go-to, and it was a grand old time.
Yeah. And there just isn't anything on the Switch 2 right now that catches people in that regard. The only other game that they could have even come close to is their what is it, the tech demo game, the start welcome. But still, even then, you got to pay $10 for it. And
we don't talk about that because that's just not. I love by we, I mean me personally. You guys can talk about it all you want. What a mistake that was to charge money for that.
Yeah, I love the article.
It would have been cool. I would have been thrilled about it if it came with my Switch 2 for sure, but
it should have.
$10 for that, and you can't even do everything if you don't have every peripheral. Like, come on, Nintendo, what are you doing? You guys are smelling your own farts. Let's be honest.
It's a good way to put it. And a crazy misstep from them. And I love the way Game Informer said their review. It's like homework, the video game.
Yeah, boy, what a brutal headline. It's just brutal.
Yeah, and it got terrible reviews. It's sitting at like a 60 on Metacritic. And to complete the game, if you want to truly complete the game, you have to get all the accessories that are sold with the Switch, including that camera, that 1080p camera where you can do 15 frames a second with your friends. Or I think it was like 7 frames a second. Digital Foundry did a...
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did a test, and I think it came up to like 7 or 10 frames a second, which, okay, cool. Whatever.
I think somebody should make a parody video of the, shot on iPhone, but they should make something with the Nintendo camera and just have it be like a slideshow. It's shot on the Nintendo camera. You don't know what the hell's going on because it's just bad. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that's the most egregious thing, is that camera right now is going for what I'm seeing about $55-$60 depending on where you're at, and it's I'm sitting here in front of you guys talking on a $30 Amazon camera,
right?
And it's better quality than what you're gonna get out of that Nintendo branded one.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's ugly as hell, dude. It's so ugly.
I haven't even seen it in person.
The Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Have you seen pictures of it?
No, I mean, in the first reveal trailer, sure, it was like a splash screen thing, but no, I haven't, because I just didn't care. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't give a shit about this. Like the system, yes, but that, no, I don't need it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play. I buy my Nintendo consoles for the first party games, and usually it's single player or it's local couch co-op. Like we played Mario Kart here. Yeah, Nintendo's always been my Zelda, Metroid, Mario, Donkey Kong box. So,
yep.
And speaking of Nintendo games for the Nintendo Switch 2, we actually have some news in this vein of the first party games coming out. So we want to get into the news?
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Let's
do
do
I
it.
ever.
Uh, this is a little bit old, but I wanted to go over it. Metroid Prime 1 and 3, a visual retrospective, the official art book and making of Metroid Prime 1 and 3 hardcover book got delayed. And I know this because I had it pre-ordered. And the interesting thing, here's why I bring this up. It's irrelevant, right? But the interesting thing is they delayed it to October 28th. And it's the official art and making of Metroid Prime 1 and 3. Here's why I think they delayed it. I think, one, we're getting Metroid Prime 4 around that time.
Mhm.
And two, we might be getting a trilogy released on Switch 2 incorporating the mouse controls.
Lay it on me,
You heard
man.
it here first.
That'd be awesome.
I
Right?
mean, a man can dream right there.
Right. Well, at minimum, that's the window we're probably getting Prime 4.
I would
it makes
absolutely
sense.
agree. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense right there. That just feels right the way they would do that. If it was a game getting pushed back to line up with what possibly like some other form of media, that might be a little questionable. But this is I mean, let's be honest, it's not a video game. So pushing that back kind of is a red flag or whatever other analogy you want to look at. Reading the tea leaves screams October.
Canary in the
I'm
coal
think-
mine.
Yeah, canary in the coal mine. I'm thinking it might actually hit, and this is where I'm sitting. I like this because it's been sitting where I've been thinking in my gut of guts is probably around the second week of November, and the reason for that is you get it out right before Black Friday, so that way when all of the sales are going on and the moms and the dads are doing the shopping for their kids, and they see video games that are deep discounted, you don't have to discount Metroid Prime 4. You just have to have it there on the shelf next to everybody else.
Absolutely.
Yep. I think it's going to be our holiday game for Switch 2
Mhm.
for sure. And it's my system seller. So I can't wait. I'm thrilled for that game. I loved 1 and 3. I'm going to be streaming Metroid Prime 1 remastered for Metroid Prime database, I think in October. And that concerns me because I'm going to play that. And then on the heels of that, I'll probably play 4. But yeah, that should be fun. I'll be on camera. And I did it last year for Metroid Zero Mission. So that was fun.
You guys both
and
thinking that Prime 4 is going to be a November release? That's kind of where I was landing. I don't know about you guys.
late October, early November. That's my
Yeah.
that's my guess. And yeah, so the news about the book is in stone. The release of Metroid Prime 4 is, of course, speculation, and that's
Sure.
what
Yeah.
we're doing. And I think, I think it's going to be our holiday release, and I think it'll release sometime late October, early November.
Mhm.
It's gotta. I think they want to get some space between Bonanza,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a good window, and that's so awesome that we're getting a Metroid marquee title for a holiday release on a new system the year of release. That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's
It really
amazing.
is awesome.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we got Dread pretty far into the Switch life cycle. And I think they're going to give our girl Samus some love, and she needs it because Metroid has been absent in the years. And Dread was awesome. Love Dread. But yeah, we need Prime 4. Dude, when was Prime 4 announced? Wasn't it like 10 years ago?
I
It
would
feels
guess
like it.
realistically, I would guess with like 3 or 4 years ago, but I do not remember. Because
Yeah.
if it's been more than 2 years,
You
I
looking it
kind
up,
of
Bob?
consider it shovelware until it comes back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you, gentlemen, here's my hard prediction right now. I am thinking it's probably going to launch November 14th. Or I'm sorry,
Okay.
13th, which is the second Thursday of November. And that lines it up right before Thanksgiving and the holiday break.
That's weird because I was going to
Mm.
guess November 7th. So close. But
Oh, hey, we're right there. Yeah, yeah.
but I also didn't look at a calendar. So I don't know what day of the week the 7th is, except now that you say that, I assume it's a Friday.
It is very much a Friday. So the 6th is probably closer, but yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a good guess. Metroid Prime 4 was revealed in 2017.
Holy
Holy
moly. It was that long ago? I'm
Yup.
old as fuck. Sorry,
Pulling a
guys.
fast one on us, man.
Good
Remember they just showed
God.
the splash screen of the logo and that's it? And then we waited 8 years and
Oh
now
my God.
yeah, we're in the final lap, man. And we're going to get a release date I don't know. I say we'll have a direct sometime in August, and they'll give
After
you.
Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out and gets the
Yes.
spotlight for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Speaking of Donkey Kong Bonanza, we got a little Nintendo Direct, like a little bite-sized, I don't know, 17-minute, I think it was, Nintendo Direct. That was yesterday, which, well, 2 days ago, if you're listening to this when it comes out, when the episode comes out. But we got some pretty in-depth gameplay videos, and I'm not going to go into any specifics because it's kind of outside the marketing, and I feel like it spoiled a lot. But let's just say they showed a lot. I wanted to see more variety in the levels, and I did. I saw more variety in the levels. I saw more variety in the gameplay. And this gets me more excited for the game that I have pre-ordered and is coming out mid next month. So
yeah, about a month from
July.
now, right? I think.
Yeah, I think it is July 17th. We can verify that. But yeah, it looked great. Have you guys watched that?
I did.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Bob. You first.
No,
man.
All right. First off, yes, July 17th. You are correct there, Matt. Yeah, I did absolutely watch this. And I got to say this, I'm not going to go into specifics. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that may be in anticipation of this game. Donkey Kong Bonanza, unfortunately, comes out at a pretty rough time. Let's be real. Death Stranding 2 is coming, and that's one of those everything drops games. So when the first trailers came out and people were talking about it, I said, "Oh, that's really cool, awesome. I might be able to. I'm somewhat interested peripherally, but I'm not going to get it on a launch day." After seeing this, my expectations of or my anticipation of this game have drastically increased. I am really excited at what they showed mechanically, the characters. I have no qualms about the way this thing's going to run just looking at it, being on the Switch 2. The music, just kind of I don't know if it's in game, but they had some allusions to previous Donkey Kong games in there on that music, and I heard the beats in there, and
Oh yeah,
started getting me going, and I was in the rhythm. So at the end of the day, I will be getting this game. They've got my sale. But because it is Nintendo and I know things never go on sale anyways, I'll just pick this up one time when I'm at a Best Buy or at a GameStop, helping my wife search for cards, Pokemon cards, and then I'll just go, "Oh, cool, you have Donkey Kong Bonanza," because this is not a game like Claire where I'm worried about not being able to get a physical copy. So long story short, I was iffy. I'm 100% sold now. It's just a matter of when I pick it up.
yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the music because that was the first thing. I mean, I'm a big music person, and when it comes to games, that's like, I don't want to say number one, but it's up there. Like if the game has a good soundtrack or good score, mother of God, like it just does so much work. Same thing with film. I come from a film background. I was going to say that earlier and I kind of forgot. But like, it's really important to set the mood and the tone. But earlier today, I finally got to watch this Nintendo Direct. And the first thing I noticed, I was like, you sons of bitches, I already was excited about it because I love Donkey Kong. But I was making my lunch earlier and I was like whistling the watch the thing music, and nobody was home. And so my wife couldn't yell at me and say, why are you whistling Donkey Kong? But I was doing it and I just like kind of giggled upstairs. I was like, man, I'm already excited for this. And like, that's not coming out for a month. I got Death Stranding to deal with. I've got Claire Obscure's soundtrack that lives in my head rent free forever. But Donkey Kong, I think the thing that they showed, the newest direct, really did it justice, because I was concerned about its potential frame issues. This was before the Switch 2 released. I didn't know how it was going to run because they didn't really show me, but they showed enough gameplay that I was like, yes, I'm there 100% day one. Let's do this thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, during the presentation there were some times where it kind of showed a wide angle of the level and it did stutter frame rate wise.
It did.
But this could be early footage and we'll see what Digital Foundry says on it. And I really hope it runs well, and I hope we're not in the same situation as we were on the Switch 1. I hope to God. But
we'll play Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Switch 3.
Right.
It'll be great. In 9 years. No problems, right?
Oh my God.
I can tell you for frame rates, there has been one concern. I did play Mario Kart World with my youngest two kids. So we were playing first 4-player split screen locally.
Yeah.
It immediately locked to 30 frames. Which was a little disappointing. It did not take the fun out of the game. Absolutely 24 players, 2 of them my kids, and my son, my middle son, is just like sitting there trying to run at me, and we're running between each other, and somebody gets hit with a blue. It still didn't take out of the fun of the game, but it does also give me concern that if Mario Kart World struggles at 60 frames on a 4-player split screen, and my TV's not anything to shy at, and I have the correct HDMI cables, I'm a little concerned. But
Well, can I ask you, because I feel you, that's a bummer, but was the 30 at least locked? Like, did you notice stuttering or anything like that when you were playing?
no,
That's a good
it
question.
appeard to be locked at the entire time. So you
At
at
least
least
there's
could
that.
anticipate.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's good, but you're right. We live in 2025. Like, what? Come on.
Right.
What the hell?
That's why I couldn't play Borderlands 3 locally with my wife for the most part.
Ugh.
I don't think anybody could at launch. Borderlands 3 was busted as hell when it came out.
Yeah, it was. Hopefully, Borderlands 4 won't be. And we have Borderlands 4 news too. But before we get into that, I wanted to share a little bit of non-gaming news. I just want to touch on it, and this is relevant because we have analytics of which platforms download the podcast, and 80% of our listeners are on Apple devices.
Damn.
So, yeah. And Bob, you switched to an Apple device. Caleb, I know you're on an Apple device and you followed this news greatly. And we were actually discussing this. Well, I was on a plane and you were like, oh my God. And I'm like, I have no idea what's happening because the Wi-Fi sucks here and I can't watch it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that beginning. Because I was just like, dude, this is great.
Yeah, I finally watched it in that beginning. Of course, what I'm talking about is WWDC, and this is Apple's annual event. They announce all of the new software for all of their devices, all their OS upgrades that will be releasing this fall. And we have a huge redesign coming. Huge emphasis in liquid glass, they call it. And it's very glass-like in the UI and the design, and they're really designing it around the modern hardware we have. But the biggest thing is that redesign across the whole board, but they are consolidating the names of the operating systems. Because right now we're on iOS 18, Mac OS 15, Vision OS 2, but they are just calling it all the same thing, and we're going to iOS 26 and across the board, Mac OS 26, iPad OS 26. And
what, you mean they're doing something that makes sense for like
right.
the calendar year or the fiscal year, maybe however they want to design it, or designate it. Excuse me. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like when companies think logically. That just blows my mind. I feel like I'm gonna die soon because that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and dude, tech companies avoid the number 9 like the plague for some reason. There was no Windows. Yeah,
Interesting.
No
I never
Windows
really
9.
thought about that before.
There was no Mac
right.
OS. Mac OS 10.9. It went 10.8 to Mac OS 11. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the PlayStation 9 will be the first. We'll see.
Right. Or maybe there was a Mac OS 10.9. I don't know. I'm not in work mode right now. I'm in Apple IT, so I should know all this shit. But Apple did announce all of this. I think it's a great move forward. I think consolidating their operating systems into the same naming scheme will eliminate a lot of confusion. And man, it looks really cool. It looks very clean, and hopefully it runs well. I've heard mixed reviews on the beta, the developer beta. The public beta comes out July, and then it will be available to you all in the fall. We'll get an official release date the sooner that time comes. So,
are you going to get the beta, Mr. Apple?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I'm
going
to
to
get
have
the beta
almost every year that I've known you, I think, right?
Yes, I'll probably do the public beta. The developer beta, my company won't pay for the developer program, so I'm not going to get the developer beta, and I refuse to pay out of pocket. So I'll get the public beta, and yeah, I always download the beta. So,
well, I look forward to your thoughts because, like I mean, I'm a big tech person, but you are like everybody comes to me for help in my circle. I come to you for Apple stuff 100% because you really, your shit, which is great. and I
So,
appreciate
Well, thanks, man.
so you're not the only one then, Caleb.
No. I mean, to be honest, like I can handle my own pretty well, but I got nothing on this guy when it comes to Apple and software. He knows every little in and out that I can't figure out. And he's like, hold on, let me pull up I imagine him putting on like Dumbledore spectacles when he's trying to help me out remotely from Colorado. And please tell me that you actually have Dumbledore spectacles, because that would make me a little hard. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my God, are you grabbing some right? Yes. Talk to me, Mr. Headmaster. But yeah, he knows his shit, and I definitely respect his Apple prowess, and he knows what's up.
Harry, why was your name in the Goblet of Fire? Well, hey, I appreciate that. I've been in the game for almost 20 years now. It's my career. It's my passion. I love Apple. I use it every day. I'm not a fanboy because I'm not blind to their faults, and I do.
Sure.
I do think that they've made some mistakes along the way. But yeah, I love what they're doing, and there definitely was a 10.9. It was. I'm looking at now. I think it was Mavericks, wasn't it?
It's your
I
would ask Bob. Do you want to ask Matt for me, because I have no idea? You know who would know? That guy.
I think I know somebody that knows that answer.
Yeah, I'll get back to you later.
Hey, it was Mavericks. It was Mavericks. 10.9 Mavericks released October 2013. So yeah, I was still at the Apple Store at the time.
Oh yeah, you would have been.
Yep. So yeah, the Apple news is pretty cool. I like the direction they're going, and I just wanted to add that in this episode because it's pretty significant, because 80% of our listeners are on Apple products. So go our listeners, and we really appreciate you listening, and good for you being on the best platform. No, I'm kidding. It's
a little plug in there.
Right.
Mr. Apple.
We have Android users. We have all kinds of different users. Whatever works for you works for you. My personal preference and our personal preference is Apple. So.
To add on to that just a little bit, though, because I don't want to offend your listeners, but the one thing that they will never have if they're not on Apple is Craig Federighi's hair. That's the one thing that Apple has above all others that nobody can fight. It's the best. It's the best.
Yep. You know what I heard from all of this? It doesn't matter what platform you video game on. It matters what platform you podcast on.
That's true. 100%.
Yep. So yeah, some cool Apple news. If you want to learn more about it, just go to apple.com. It's right there on their splash screen, and learn more about it. If you have questions, ask them in the Discord. Maybe I'll make a little Apple section. I don't know. I'm more than happy to talk about Apple technology or operating systems any day, anytime. So, and I
gave my mom your phone number because that's easy. I know you love that.
Yeah, is a different thing. But mutually having a conversation on cool things coming out from Apple, that's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if there's a quick problem, I'm more than happy to help you guys out. You guys, meaning you and Bob. And I'm happy to
I appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate that. So you mentioned, Matt, they're answering some questions or finding help on the Discord. Where can the community find the Discord? Do you happen to remember where they can find the link for it? Because of course, I can help you out.
Of course I do. But you take this. It's your wheelhouse.
All right. So if you're looking for not just the Discord link, but all of the platforms that you can hear this podcast on, we're going to be on, it's a link tree. It's linktr.ee/shapes of gaming. Once again, that's linktr.ee/shapes of gaming. From there, you'll see Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, Spotify, and of course, as we all know, Apple Podcast, our number one platform of choice, at least by most of our listeners. So feel free. That's where you get those links, and come check us out and join this community.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
You're driving while listening to this, then you should remember it by link goes to the Deku tree. Link tree. Link goes to the Deku tree. There you go.
Love it.
Changing lives right there.
Saving lives.
And don't type it out as you're driving. We don't condone that. Yeah, it's also on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I think we have a Twitter page or X, whatever the fuck you call it.
Nobody
But yeah,
knows.
that I know. Yeah. Uh, that link tree is kind of a landing page to go to everything you need Shapes of Gaming wise. But Discord is where all the conversation happens. That's where we have the gaming conversations. That's where you can ask questions that we can read on the podcast and answer. And we really appreciate everyone that's joined there. We've had a ton of fun. We had a little Switch 2 pre-release uh, re- what I can't talk right now.
A pre-order party?
Pre-order party.
There you
Jesus.
go. I was in
Yeah,
France and I remember this.
I know.
I
Right.
wasn't a part of it, unfortunately, but you know.
We had a pre-order party. We had a good turnout. Everyone that was there got a pre-order. So hopefully they're now enjoying their Switch 2s. From what I've heard, I don't think any of them got canceled, and most of them were from Best Buy. So we have a great community there. It's all about games. We have channels specific to each game. I think I just created a Borderlands channel because Borderlands 4 is coming out soon. And we got some news for Borderlands 4 as well. So
Lay it on us.
yeah. Borderlands 4, the price and versions were revealed. And the price is going to be $70 US and not 80. That he said on Twitter. I don't want Randy Pitchford. I don't want to go into that. But let's just say he really just shouldn't have said that on Twitter. But he said if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to pay $80. And I understand the price from a standpoint of some games, 30 years ago were $120, right? But you don't say that.
Marketing 101.
Exactly.
In Randy's defense, though, I've already seen arguments about this and gaslighting, if you will, on this pricing. People posting Canadian dollars for the Ultimate Vault Hunter, please take all my money, Randy edition, and screaming, "Hey, look at the price of this! This is getting out of hand!" And then the realists in the group going, "Okay, first off, that's for the Super Ultimate Edition. So if you want to purchase that, that's on you. Also, that's in Canadian dollars, which aren't really technically real dollars anyway. So
Oh my God,
it's like Monopoly money."
Yeah. So the purchase price for the base edition is going to be $69.99 US, and then you got the deluxe edition. I'm not going to go into what is included in this because, man, I usually just go with the base edition and none of the fluff. If you want to learn more, just go to the PSN store page or whatever platform of your choice you're purchasing it on. The Borderlands 4 Deluxe Edition is $99 US dollars, and then the Borderlands 4 Super Deluxe, Jesus Christ, oh my God, holy fuck edition is going to be
favorite.
100. Yeah, right. It's going to run you $130, man. And I mean, this does include the Borderlands like season pass for all the DLC, but we don't know what that's going to be.
Man,
right?
that could give me like 22 Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy card packs. Which
Right.
one should I buy?
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. So, yeah, all these editions, man. I'm just going to get the base, boring ass, just standard edition.
Just get the game.
And exactly. It's going to be the same game. It won't have the deluxe cosmetics. If I like the game, I love the game, and I want those deluxe cosmetics, thankfully, PlayStation usually gives you the option to digitally upgrade to the digital deluxe for the extra cost. I've done that many times. But honestly, if I get the physical version, I like the base art of the game. I don't like the upgraded artwork. So what are you guys going to do? Do you have Borderlands 4 pre-ordered base edition?
I don't have it pre-ordered yet. Much like with Borderlands 3, I didn't get it at launch because honestly, I think at the time, for me, it was just a horrible time with real life stuff. And I was like, I'm going to play this eventually. I'm going to. I don't know if I need to buy it now because something that most of our followers, or your followers, excuse me, probably know is that if you wait long enough, a game goes on sale anymore. Like games go on sale really fast. Generally, Nintendo that doesn't count because Nintendo's gonna always Nintendo. But I thought I'll just get it at like a Christmas or a Hanukkah, if you will, or an Easter spring sale, whatever. And I missed it. And I remember you telling me, boy, it's kind of busted on launch. Like, the frame rate was bad. It wasn't optimized. It was a little clunky. So I was glad that I skipped that, frustration, because I do like to come home and just dive into some looter shooter Borderlands wacky goodness when they come out. But this time it's similar thoughts. I thought, I got to see a little bit more before it comes out to hear if it runs well, because there's so many other games coming out. I'm going to always have something to play. I can wait for Borderlands to be fixed. And you guys have touched on it a lot in some of your other episodes. So I won't go into great detail, but obviously when you've got something like a game constantly coming out broken, that sucks. That's just a bad feeling. And it sticks with me for a lot longer than I think it sticks with your average younger person, because I think younger people are just used to that. And like, we remember a time where either a game came out broken forever, which is like, this is really fun because it's busted as shit and I can just break it all the time, or it just works, and I miss the days where they worked. Personally, that's a personal thing anymore. I used to argue with my niece about it, where she's like, just wait for a patch, and I'm like, I paid 50, 60, 70, $90 for this. I don't want to wait for a patch. I want it to work the day it comes out. But so with Borderlands 4, even though I very much like what I've seen, I'm very happy with what I've seen so far, other than the Twitter/X conversation, but that doesn't have anything to do with the game anymore.
It does not.
I'm very excited for it. I am. Will I pre-order it? Probably. I'll decide like a week before. Depends on what's out. Depends on my time. Depends on if early previews say, yo, this is stable and it's good. But honestly, you guys are both playing, so I'm probably going to do it earlier rather than later this year, because also I've got a little bit more free time than I've had the last couple of years. So yeah, but I am excited about it. I'm very excited about it. I'm really hoping that they buck that trend of releasing a broken thing for 2 months and then fixing it later and being like, look how great this is. Cause it'll just sit with me and I'll be angry. And I don't want that. I want to be like, this game was dope. let's play.
Right. How about you, Bob?
I know you're absolutely right. So I'm a day one. All in 100%. This game Borderlands is the series that is couch co-op to me in my adult life. Playing Smash Brothers and GoldenEye or whatever have you, right? With my friends back in the junior high and early high school days is one thing. But this is this series holds such a special place simply because it's the first co-op game, couch co-op, should I say, that I got to play at home. That wasn't with one of my buddies, with one of my drinking friends, whatever have you. This is the game that got my wife to play games on a regular basis. There's only one other game that ever caught her attention like this, and that was Animal Crossing. Thanks, Nintendo. I appreciate that. So whether it ends up being a busted mess or not, I'll be getting the base game for sure. Whether we upgrade depends on how that goes, what it looks like, all of that. My hope is, even if there are some issues with it performing on a split screen local co-op, that the PS5 Pro is able to offset the issues that may come with that versus a base PS5 or a piece or a Xbox Series garbage, whatever that looks like. I'm sorry, Xbox fans. I don't mean that. I think it's S is the lower tier. You'll have to correct me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm hoping that's the case, because while Borderlands 3 does justifiably gets a lot of crap for its performance out the gate, I like to remind fans that, or anybody that may be trying to rip on this, is Borderlands 2 launched really well. There were no issues. Me and 3 other buddies went to lunch, and this was back in my army days. We went to lunch somewhere. We grabbed a copy of the game. We played hooky from the rest of work, dodged everybody as far as we could, all went to a single barracks room where we're playing Borderlands 2 on split screen. No issues. We all had a great time. Tiny Tina's Winter Wonderlands. While I understand some people don't like that game, fundamentally at launch there were no breaks that I remember. Maybe my memory's a little fuzzy. Yeah. even on split screen, no issues, no stuttering, no menu jank, none of that. So I think Borderlands 3 was truly the anomaly. And if Borderlands 4 does end up having some fundamental bug issues out the gate, I'm going to shake my finger at Randy Pitchford and quietly remind him that you not only were so confident in this game that you had to go fight with your fans on Twitter, on X, you also pushed up the release date by 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I have full confidence that it's going to launch successfully. I'm all for this game. It'll be my game that I talk about for weeks on end. And if it is broken, I'll put it to the side because September going into October is already a crowded month as it is.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
I do have to clarify, just to let both of you know, that like if the game is fun and it works like well enough, if a game is fun factor is the number one thing when it comes to gaming 100% of the time. Like I love the narratives, I love the story-based stuff, I love all that. But when you play video games to have fun, that's the whole point. It's as simple as that. And like, I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on Borderlands as a series. You're absolutely right. I remember getting 1 and 2 at launch and being like, this is awesome. This is the 11-year-old me being able to be a grown-ass 11-year-old continually. And so when 3 came out, I just got lucky that I didn't get it at launch. I was too much of an adult at that time. But if Borderlands 4 comes out and it's got a couple frame dips and fine, that's okay. I'm talking like crashing when you switch menu screens on like the 3 problem. Where it's like, okay, this is unplayable.
Oh, yeah.
Cyberpunk when it came out, I love Cyberpunk, but man, talk about, I remember getting it in the mail and being so excited and then just deflated. Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games, like top 10 of all time with the DLC. Immaculate. And then Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to be that in a cyberpunk world, and instead I got like, you get to play for 2 hours and then your PlayStation's going to set itself on fire and jump off the Empire State Building, and then your wife's going to leave you for another console. Like that's what happened with Cyberpunk's launch, and I hated it. But the game eventually got fixed. So hopefully Borderlands 4 fixes the issues from 3, and we all get to have a great time shooting shit and hearing new swear words that they make up for the world. For people that play, what I'm talking about. It definitely is very immature in the most mature way possible.
It's funny, Caleb. I have an autograph from the guy who voiced Sir Hammerlock.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
That's
awesome. What he autographed on it?
What do you say?
Boner farts.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. No note. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, I really hope Borderlands 4 comes out not broken. And the previews we've been seeing, actually, they've gotten the game in people's hands and they're raving about it. It's getting a lot of positive press and reviews, and they're saying it's not. It goes kind of return to form. When we had 1 and 2 as one of the best stories in the series.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're going back to that and really focusing on gameplay. And honestly, it sounds to me like Destiny without all the bullshit games as a service, expansion stuff. We'll get expansions, and I still believe in Borderlands expansions. I don't believe in it enough to blind buy it, but Borderlands 1, 2, and 3 had really good DLC. Wonderlands, not so much. And that's kind of why I'm a little hesitant. But yeah, you said it, man. Games come out broken nowadays, like Doom: The Dark Ages. We played it, and now there's a patch out that supposedly fixes the Berserk trophy for the platinum. Didn't fix it for me. I launched it.
So it's not retroactive.
It doesn't look like it. I did
sucks, man.
everything they suggested, and they did a lot of audio balancing, which we had a problem with the audio balancing on it. So, man, waiting for games, it's like when you play games on launch, sometimes you're a beta tester or a quality assurance analyst not getting paid. And they bring out a patch like Assassin's Creed Shadows. I still haven't played it. I bought it on launch. I'm fortunately in a place in my life where I can buy these games on launch and just put them on my shelf and wait, even though they do come out at a very discounted price like 3 months later. But yeah, Shadows is still on my shelf, and I kind of wish I waited on Doom: The Dark Ages. And I'll keep my eye on Borderlands 4. I have it pre-ordered, but a big hook for this is, are my friends going to be playing it? You know? And is it going to be fun? And because Borderlands is so fun in co-op. So I'm very happy that positive things are being said about Borderlands 4 rather than the stuff on Twex. We'll call it Twex.
Yeah,
You heard it here first. Twex.
I love it and I hate it at the same time.
But yeah, whatever he says, it doesn't affect the gameplay of the game, and whatever suits say or higher up say, just they shouldn't say it, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect the game, and the game's developed by hundreds of people. And is it fun? Is it cool to play? That's what I care about. And Borderlands 4, from what I saw during the little mini state of play they had, it looks great. Vex is going to be my girl. And I can't wait to play it.
Me too, buddy. Sirens all the way. 100,000%.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I love Mordecai in the first game, but I was a Siren first, a Lilith first. Like, I just, had to do it.
I don't disagree, but they I don't remember the name, but they mentioned the sniper, and I immediately went, "Ooh, there's my class, Marlowe." That's it.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, there's my class."
Yep. Yeah. So, bringing back a little bit of Mordecai from 1. So
that has me very excited because I did very much like him. He was. I had more fun. I played him as my solo playthrough, and then I played the Siren with other people. That was but I played with other people first, so she's kind of technically my main. But Mordecai, man, I was a hunter in World of Warcraft, so I was like, you get pets, and sniping is more my thing. Like, yes, like give me that. But man, Lilith was just such a cool character. Gameplay aside, like her character was awesome.
Oh, yeah. And we'll be following the news up to release. I'm going to create a little channel on the Discord. We're going to be talking all about Borderlands. If you ever want to hop in and play with us, if we have room, be more than happy to have you and play some Borderlands with us if you have the game. And yeah, we're just going to have fun. And I think it's going to be great. And Bob, you unfortunately have this counter picked on the draft.
Bummer.
I mean, I do have a couple of, in my defense, I really, really, really did not expect this game to come out this year.
It's gonna.
Yeah, that's okay. And if it's
great.
good Borderlands and it's amazing and it's revolutionary, guess what? I win either way.
Exactly.
Yep.
But
my audio cut out.
Oh,
1 sec. Keep talking.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
probably because you touch yourself at night. I have it on good authority. I don't know if that's true. Bob told me.
Oh, no. You misunderstood the message. He loves shaving goats.
Oh, God damn. Yeah, I definitely misunderstood that message. My fault. My bad.
But yeah, this is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that.
Yeah, it's a Vault Hunter tattoo.
I've got I've got a tattoo. Needless to say, Borderlands is probably in my top like IPs of all time. So all right, yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, when you say I played as Mordecai, that's what I played as. Because of his attitude, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But it looks like Matt has fixed his audio issues. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me? That's new.
Yeah,
I get a phone call. I get a phone call and all my audio cuts out. So I just turned off my phone. People don't.
Well, we were just talking about Bob's Vault Hunter tramp stamp. Since the viewers, the listeners can't hear it or see it, they don't know.
Yep.
No, for the record, it's on his arm and it's pretty badass. Just clearing that up.
Yeah, when you say tramp stamp, people are there. He's got a vault symbol above his ass.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping they would think. So hopefully the audio cuts out here and they think that forever about Bob.
Yes.
No refunds.
No
Squall
refunds.
Lionheart or Squall Leonheart with a tramp stamp of a Vault Hunter right above his ass crack. There we go.
Get on that AI.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Oh. Yeah. Borderlands 4 coming out very soon in September. And we're excited for it. Just a couple more pieces of news before we get into the main topic. Just gonna kind of rapid fire. So Silent Hill 1 remake confirmed by Bloober Team. Konami had a little press event, and at the end, they ended with the announcement that Bloober Team was officially in production on Silent Hill 1 remake, which I couldn't be more excited for. Silent Hill 2 remake was great. Highly recommended. Have you played that yet, Caleb? Silent Hill 2 remake?
I have not. I mean, I played the original Silent Hill 2. I loved it. It was awesome. I really, 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 again, loved the music for it. That was kind of one of the main reasons that I even bought it in the first place. Because, God, I don't remember when Silent Hill 2 came out. It was like 2000, 99, 2000, something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe a year or two after that. But I remember just like that guitar and just the feeling of seeing the trailer and like little previews of it. This is, back before we had the major shows that we have now to show everything. So, you're like researching, you could either look up porn by mistake or you could find Silent Hill 2 music at the time. Sometimes you get both. That was, that was what my high school was like, by the way. But I love the original Silent Hill 2. And I will say, I did play it originally on the OG Xbox.
Oh,
I don't remember if it didn't come out or maybe it was like a special edition or something. Cause I got it a little bit later, but I loved it. And then, so when this one was announced and Bloober Team, right? Didn't Bloober Team do
yes.
this? Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I need it in my life. And then, I had real life nonsense going on when it came out. It just wasn't a good time. And I was like, if I hadn't already played the original, I would put this in my, you've got 3 games to play over the next 4 months, pick and choose. The reason I didn't was because I'd played it before. That's the only reason I didn't, because it looks awesome. It sounds awesome. I feel like they did a good job. And I know that you played it and you were telling me that you had a great time. And you didn't play the original, did you?
I played a little bit of the original. I never finished it.
Okay.
It was a very tough game, but I did play the original. Never finished it. And yeah, dude, the remake of 2 was an incredible survival horror, psychological horror. And Bob, you haven't played it either, have you? A little too scary.
So I played the OGs 1 and 2. I played 3 for a little bit, and we don't talk about that one
I'm
too
sorry
much.
about that.
Yeah. Silent Hill 2 remake. I have gotten somewhat through it, but unfortunately, I don't know what it is. But somehow Blooper Team took a game that was already creepy and had amazing atmosphere and cranked that up to 11. And my anxiety will not allow me to get anything more than like an hour's worth of playtime before I go, okay, too much. I'll admit
Then
it.
you got like 20 days to play, because isn't it what, like a 20, 25-hour game, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I just need to drink a bunch of beer, courage juice, and make it happen. But yeah, I'll Silent Hill 1 remake. I'm going to be honest, and this may not be a popular opinion, and I totally understand. I prefer Silent Hill 1 over Silent Hill 2. So
Wow.
hearing Silent Hill 1 is absolutely, I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. I get 2. I will not deny why somebody might like 2, and I think objectively it might be a better game, but I prefer 1. That was the introduction into horror of survival horror.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a very scary game. Bloober Team did an amazing job on the remake, and it gets me very excited for the remake of 1 and a game coming out this fall, Chronos: The New Dawn, which they're making and is basically like Dead Space and BioShock had a baby in a survival horror time looped environment. So
I hope it pays off.
yeah,
I would got to say, I'm a little
cool.
not sure about Chronos, but
Right.
the closer we get, the more I'm paying attention to it,
Yeah. How are you going to skip over Silent Hill F too?
Huh?
Shit.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Kinda
excited.
forgot.
It's not Bloober Team though. It's actually
Yeah, it is.
Konami,
Absolutely. Yeah, it is Konami. But you're right. Blooper Team. Chronos is on my radar too. It's
Oh,
on my
yeah.
draft, I think.
Yes, it is. And so is Silent Hill F too. So you got some bangers coming up. Couple more. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is still happening. That's cool. The remake. Ubisoft Montreal basically confirmed they're still in development, and we didn't know if this game was still in development, but it's still happening. And I'm really excited. I played this on the GameCube when it came out, and I can't wait for this remake. It's on my list. I have my eye on it, of course. And yeah, I'm very thrilled that it's still in production.
Hell yeah.
You guys play it? Did you guys play the Sands of Time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's great.
Yep. Let's see. Marathon was delayed. That was to no surprise for anyone.
Wah,
And
wah, wah.
yep, they're let's just say they're figuring their shit out. and a new release date will be announced in fall 2025, Bungie said. So we'll keep an eye on it. I haven't really been interested in it since it was announced. It's not a genre for me, but I do wish Bungie best. They're a first-party developer and a first-party studio that I hope succeeds, but they're really fucking up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or you're not interested in Marathon, Caleb, and I don't think you're interested in Marathon either, Bob.
I was
right?
interested in the OG. Like I liked, way back in the day, but mostly learned about it because of Halo and stuff. The original. Like what else did this team do back then?
Yeah.
This one, kind of like you, it's not really my jam. I like the world more than I like the gameplay. At least what they've said Marathon's going to be. I don't know. As much as I like playing games with other people, I would prefer to play other types of games with other people, like Monster Hunter Wilds. If I'm gonna spend 40 hours playing this game with a friend, give me Monster Hunter Wilds over Marathon. And I'm pretty good at shooters, but like I don't know. It just seems like it's missing something. There's something hollow about it. And I'm not talking about the stolen artwork. I'm talking about something about the game just doesn't quite click for me. But for people who are interested in that, that's fantastic. And I hope it's awesome. I don't know. I was on the fence. And then when I watched our friend play, he got to play the alpha test and he showed us, which was very kind of him to do. And I was like, yeah, all right. For me, but like I'm sure it'll be okay. And then this happened, so it's not going to be okay right now. I have full confidence that Bungie will figure out something. They're top tier. They know what they're doing. As long as the game's fun, people will get it. But I don't know. For me, I'm just like, call me in 3 months and let's see what it looks like.
Yeah. The genre doesn't interest me at all. I wish them the best though. And Bob, you're not interested either, right?
No, but
Yeah.
I hope Bungie nails the landing or sticks the landing
Exactly.
on this
Yeah.
one. So I'm glad you did the smart thing. You did the wise thing. You're pushing back the release date. It hasn't been received well. Then you got embroiled in controversy. Normally, you would see a lot of places just say, "Screw it, we're still going to push through. We need to make the money," and they get into that sunk cost fallacy mindset. Here, they're playing it smart. They're being level headed about it. They're being strategic. So I really wish them well because it is the smart move. It's a tough decision, but it is the right one ultimately at the end of the day.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
And PlayStation needs their ROI, right? Because they purchased Bungie, I think for like 3 million or something like that. You can verify.
I'd say,
But they invested a lot. They invested a lot. They bought Bungie and they need some ROI from them. And I wish them the best. So Marathon being delayed doesn't affect me. But if you're excited for Marathon, got to wait a little longer. And I hope they stick the landing, just like you said. What do you say we get in the main topic, the meat and potatoes?
Let's do this thing, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah. So the main topic of this episode 8, is going to be our favorite 8-bit games. So 8-bit games, if you guys don't know, if you listeners don't know, it's in the NES era, the Game Boy era, pretty much where it all started on the console home front. Atari, I think, is 8-bit as well, right? Or, 8-bit's where it starts, right?
Was Atari? Bob would know this off the top of his head. Was Atari originally 4-bit?
Atari was ever 24-bit? No,
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
In fact, as far as I understand it, it was only the Famicom and Sega's SG-1000 that were in the 8-bit family.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of peripheral stuff. It gets really weird, as you know, between the 70s all the way up through the late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
With those bit systems. But yeah, like you said, 8-bit. Most people think NES. So that's where we are.
I think Game Boy, because I did a lot on the Game Boy. I didn't start with the NES. I started with the SNES. The first console I ever owned was the Game Boy. And then the first home console I ever owned was the N64. So, 8-bit to me is more like Game Boy. And honestly, we have 8-bit games nowadays. People are developing 8-bit games, and I have some of those on my honorable mentions. So we're each going to go over 5 of our favorite 8-bit games of all time. and this is kind of where it started for us. What got us into gaming, the 8-bit era. I think we were all like 10, 12 years old or no, even younger actually, like 8. Yeah, 7 or 8. When
Oh,
was it?
for me, I was 3. I mean,
Yeah.
1988, 1989 would have been when
Yeah.
I started playing. So
Yeah. So 3, 4, or 5-year-olds, right?
yeah, yeah.
So this is we were tiny little kids when this era of gaming was in the public. So 8-bit gaming is kind of our roots, where it all started.
Sure.
And this was your idea, Bob. So great idea for episode 8. And yeah, we have a list of 5 games we want to go over.
I think
So
he should kick it off because he's the retro
I do
gaming master
too.
himself.
I was just
Okay.
about
All
to
right.
say that.
That. I think that's fair enough. Unfortunately, you're not going to get anything crazy out of my top one. I'm going to be a little transparent here. Some of these you may have heard of. Some of these you may not know. Depending on your age and the of listener. I have a feeling Caleb and Matt, you guys will know a good portion of these. But they all hold. They're a top. I'll say this much: they're a top game for me. Because let's be honest, NES was it had good games,
Oh
but
yeah,
it didn't have next level great games. Like you said, this is developmental years. These are the early years of picking up a controller and playing them. So this is less about the quality of the game, but more about what kind of impact it had as a gamer. If
sure.
that makes a little bit of sense. And I'm going to just come out the gate right away. This is in no particular order. These are just 5 that really sunk into my heart. And at number 1 on this list is, unfortunately, and I know it seems cliche, is Super Mario Brothers 3 over the other 2. The reason for this is I used to go after I had an NES and got to play Duck Hunt and all that good stuff. I used to go to a babysitter while my mom and dad were working, and they had an NES and they had a list of games. But the one game that got my attention consistently was Super Mario Brothers 3. I know this game inside and out. I can beat this game in realistically not I'm not at the I couldn't do the what is it the speed running community style of level, those top gamers, but I know this game well enough to where I could pick it up and put it down in 30 minutes easily.
Oh yeah.
Easily, just because of how much I've played this game and understood it and fundamentally love it. The game, the music, the act of making sure this game is essentially Mario on a stage doing a play, I thought was amazing. And it's really a late era NES game. If you think about it, this game came out right at the end of the NES's life cycle, to where so much that it technically overlaps with the SNES in Japan. The Super
Yeah.
Famicom had hit at that point, but we got the Super Mario Brothers 3, and that's kind of where it's in that weird overlap era.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that game as the starting game, because even though it's not my favorite game of all time, favorite is different than arguable best. I have always in a when friends of mine or my niece or other family members have said like, "What's the best game ever made?" I always say Super Mario Brothers 3, because it's just it basically made everything else possible moving forward. Like you just touched on Mario being on a stage and sort of, even though, you know, Siskel and Ebert at the time would have argued like, games are not art. Um, that was like the closest we got to an art form, even though, you know, it was an 8-bit. It was fun. It was a cool idea. And I remember as a kid, first time I played Super Mario Brothers 3, I didn't really pick up on the stage thing. You know, I saw the curtains, but I didn't realize it was curtains. I was like, what are these dumb red things? Like, you know, we're talking the old school stuff. And like, what the hell is a P-wing? I don't understand what that means. Why does a P-wing make you fly? Did they misspell fly like in Japanese? Did they think that was an F? Like, I didn't understand because I was 4, 5 years old, something like that. Um, but the older I got, the more I appreciated the majesty of Super Mario Brothers 3. It's a great, I'm so glad that you kicked it off with that, because that really might be the best 8-bit game, uh, objectively. You know, it's not going to be everybody's favorite, sure, but I can't think of a single person that's like, oh, fuck that game, it's terrible. Like Super Mario Brothers 3 is well loved, and for good reason.
Yeah, what the fuck is a Tanuki?
Actually, I could tell you, but we don't have time for that.
That's true, but we don't have time.
Yeah. So yeah, awesome game. That's one of the best 2D side-scrolling Mario's. and the best of the original trilogy for sure. I love that game. I played it not on release, and when I say like 9 or 10, that's kind of when I got into 8-bit gaming on the Game Boy in '96, which you could probably guess which game is on one of on my list. So, but yeah, Super Mario Brothers 3, incredible game, great choice. So, Caleb, did you want to go next? Or you want me to go next? Do you
Sure.
want to?
I'm gonna probably take another one that arguably popular. Um, One of the more formative games for me when I was renting games from the video store and rifling through my mom's purse trying to see if she had $1 so I could ask her, and then have if she lied to me I would know because I already saw the dollar. That was just a thing, back when I was growing up. But Mega Man 2, I'm just going to come out and say Mega Man 2. A lot of people favor Mega Man 3, and arguably for good reason. Mega Man 3 introduced the sliding feature and they sort of like figured out that mechanic. But for some reason, I will always have a very special place in my heart for Mega Man 2. I think it was very difficult, especially as a child. But Bob was talking about being able to pick up Super Mario Brothers 3 and be able to maybe not speed run it, but like, I mean, what, 30 some years later, and here we are thinking like, oh God, I could pick that up and play it right now. I would always start with Metal Man, and then I would go to Wood Man, and then I would go to Air Man. Like I just had it. I still know it. It's just I'm sort of indoctrinated to know and tell anybody I could do Mega Man 2 right now. like let's just do this thing. But also the music was I mean, Mega Man music is iconic. We all know that. We don't have to, that's a different podcast altogether. We could talk about that for like 2 hours. But Mega Man 2 made me go back and check out Mega Man 1. And it wasn't that I wasn't interested in 1. I didn't know about it. But when I went back, I was like, why would I waste my time with this when 2 is like one of the most perfect games ever? Love Mega Man 2 and all the Mega Mans really, but 2 is my favorite of the NES era for sure.
Good choice. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
That's why I threw my hands there in the air. 'Cause I am a 2. 1 is frustrating. 2 is amazing, and I get 3 is objectively better.
Yeah.
But there's something special about 2.
Oh yeah, 100%. Or as I like to say, Hundo P, and it makes
God.
Matt very upset.
Jeez.
He's like,
Yep.
why did I bring you on
Great.
board?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry for your loss.
No, I love it. I love it. Mega Man 2, didn't play it on launch, of course, but I did play it. Didn't finish it. It's a very hard game. Mega Man is very challenging, very tough video game. But I know that was on your list, Bob. So you got to find a replacement.
I'm sorry
right?
I stole it. I'm sorry.
No, Mega Man is one of the classics. I really hope Capcom has some Mega Man brewing. There's been some rumors that they're making a new Mega Man game. The last one we got was Mega Man 11, and I liked it. I liked 11, so I can't wait to see what they do. And yeah, Mega Man 2 is a classic. I believe you have a somewhat sealed copy of Mega Man 2, Bob. It's more of a complete edition.
Yeah,
Really?
it's a complete edition. Complete in it. You'll be able to see it on the shelf, and I'll show you here later, Caleb. It's
What's your address again? Just for science, right?
Yeah, say it on the podcast.
It's 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, don't tempt me. I'll do it.
But yeah, I've got a complete in box with with Kmart cellophane wrapping around it. It's been broken open, but it's as close to a sealed copy as you're ever probably going to see in the
That
wild.
is awesome. You cherish
Mhm.
that thing. That's very cool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
also have a sealed, or not a sealed, but a complete in box of Mega Man X.
Mother of God.
Yeah.
That's my actual favorite Mega Man game of all time. by the
Yes,
way.
I
Mega
knew
Man
I'd
X.
like you
But,
for a reason.
like,
Yes.
not to like completely go off on a tangent, but you have a sealed copy of Mega Man X,
Not
Holy
sealed, but it's complete in box.
or complete in boxes. Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yep.
Oh, and
He's
there it
on the-
is,
on
you
the- on the camera, there it
motherfucker. That's
is.
in really good shape.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Caleb, I'm just saying, MagFest next year
Yeah, I
in
know.
January.
Oh, you told me it was
X
Mega Man.
game. I'm just saying, Bob's
Oh
going.
boy. Yeah.
So something to
I'm
think
keeping
about.
my eye on the dates and in hopes that I might be able to make some magic happen. We'll see.
Yeah,
Stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely. Great call out. Mega
But
Man 2 is a
what's
classic.
what's your number one, or your not number one, but your first
Number
choice?
5.
Matt?
Yeah. Is this first, or are we going 5-1. What did we
No real
do?
order, just whatever you want.
Random.
Random? All right. I'll start with my fifth one, Metroid, the original
right.
Metroid. So, released on the NES in 1986, the year I was born. Crazy. But yeah, this kicked off the bounty hunting adventures of Samus Aran. No one knew who she was. You played the entire game thinking this was like a robot dude or something like that. And
Yep.
then if you meet specific criteria, you find out, oh my God, it's a chick and it's Samus Aran.
She's wearing a bikini.
Exactly. So yeah, this is the first Metroid in a series of some of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorite IPs of all time. So I had to give a shout out to it. It's probably the worst game in the series because it was their first game of this design. And man, I have a good friend that runs the Metroid database site, the biggest fan site of Metroid on the web. And he speed runs this every year for the Metroid Marathon. And man, it is an insane game and he's very good at it. And I played Metroid once and I was like, okay, that's cool. It was a good game.
Yeah.
And it's good to know your roots. But this game is very, very hard. It is very challenging game. But man, it introduced everything we know and love about Metroid now. And I had to give a shout out to the roots of Metroid. And if you want to see Metroid from start to end in I think an hour he does it.
Wow.
Tune in. He's one of the best Metroid players I know. A shout out to Infinity's End. Ryan, he runs the Metroid database fan site. So
that's wonderful. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out next time because I'm one of those who before I knew how to swear would play Metroid and wish I knew swear words because it was that difficult. I know I've finished it, but I think I was 28. I didn't do it as a child. No way. But I was like, never again. This game's hard as hell. So good for him. That's really cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So Metroid Marathon, I think I'm streaming in October, but he'll be announcing dates soon. But he essentially plays from Metroid all the way to Dread or Prime Remastered.
Sure.
Wow, I might actually have the last game. But he has a team, and we play through every single Metroid mainline title on Twitch, on stream, and there's giveaways. So you can join, and we give away free Metroid swag. So it's really cool. And like I said, I'm part of it. I was part of it last year. I'm very excited to play Metroid Prime Remastered. I played it on launch, played it front to back. And then I was like, you know what? I want to play it again. I played it again on hard because I never got to do it on the GameCube. And I was like, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to beat my teenage self. And I did. And I got every single bit of art and I 100%ed Metroid Prime Remastered. So awesome. I'm going to be probably speed running it as much as I can. So yeah, I had to give a shout out to our girl, Samus.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. So back to you, Bob.
First off, I don't blame you there for that. That's a good pick. I avoided that one simply because I knew you were going to take it. It's funny you mentioned because Metroid, the original, I feel like I need to give a fun fact with every one of these games as you've been doing it.
Please do.
If it wasn't for the fact that if it wasn't for the sales in the US, we wouldn't have Metroid. I want you to keep that in mind. Metroid itself was not popular in Japan. The sales have always been stronger in the West.
I didn't know that. Okay. That's cool to know.
Yeah. But you mentioned difficulty. The next game on my list is probably the most difficult out of all of them I have.
Don't you say it. Don't steal this from me.
You and I are probably on the same boat. This is this is the first game that gave me what was called true gamer rage. And I have a complete in box. I don't have it in front of me, but I have a complete in box of this. It is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I knew it. You son of a bitch. Game is so hard.
See, you know what I'm talking about. This game was I was a huge Turtles fan growing up. I was a two series I hung on to in my early adolescence was Pee-wee Herman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And if that
Yep.
doesn't scream late 80s, early 90s, I don't know what does. But yeah, playing this game made me beat my head against a wall. This is one of like two games in the NES era that I just couldn't beat as a kid, and I had to go back as an adult and finally finish off. Because as the fun factor for this one, or as notorious as this is, because not a lot of people know, you get to the final boss, guess what? You're done in one hit. Just cancel Christmas. So you have to beat Shredder, and there are people who finally figured it out. But that was the real problem with that game, and I had a feeling you were on that same page, Caleb. So
Dude, well, it's funny because like forever and ever, I rented that game 1,000 times. I'm pretty sure I could have bought this house with how much I rented that fucking game and never was able to beat it. But I will admit, I don't remember if it was stage 3 or 4 where you would go down in the sewers and there was that jump that just you
yes,
died all the time, no matter what. I don't care. I was like, man, they made this for an arcade. They had to, so that you would just keep pumping in quarters. And I was wrong because I was, like 4 years old or whatever. But similarly, it wasn't until I was an adult and I went back and I was like, this game still sucks a bag of dicks. It's so hard. And then I finally get to Shredder, and Shredder says, kill yourself, Leonardo. And I'm like, all right, that's it. Goodbye. But I did eventually beat it. And it might be one of the only games that I wasn't even happy when I beat it. Like I was done and I was like still flipping the table. Like, I don't even want pizza. I don't want cowabunga. I don't want April O'Neil coming near me. Like, fuck this game, Grandma. You win. I'm out. But yeah, that is a very, very difficult and good choice.
Dang. Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Never played this game, and it sounds like I dodged a fucking bullet.
Don't do it.
I've heard horror stories of the water level in
Yes.
this game.
Yep.
If in that, yeah. So I've heard stories that this game is extremely hard. It was one of those licensed games that they probably didn't pay attention to the development of. And there were so many challenging games back then.
Sure.
And this is one on that list. So that's a good choice. Good choice. So
yeah. I guess in that case, your turn, Caleb. Do you have something for the audience here?
I do. It's also another game that was very difficult unless here's your hint, if you knew the Konami code, it was less difficult. But come on, I mean, this is another staple from at least from my NES days. The original Contra. Just Contra. Like, you have 3 lives, and you're not going to beat the game on 3 lives unless you've done it 6 million times. But I don't know, like, this is one of the most fascinating things about me growing up in this era was that, like, friends of mine at school would know, like, oh man, if you hit this series of buttons in, you get a new costume in Street Fighter, or you get like 30 lives in Contra, or whatever it was. There were always these codes that you could do. And this was, pre-internet. Nobody could just look this shit up. It was either in the back of like a Nintendo Power, or their cousin's uncle's brother told them. Like, it was the most magical thing in the world when you would go home and you do what your friends told you or what your sister told you, and it worked. It was like just magic, And the first time I ever beat Contra was when I got to use the code, got like 28 or 30 lives, and got better at the game. It basically just mitigated the disaster because you still died in one hit. You still went through your lives like they were just popcorn. Wasn't great, but boy, I remember the first time I beat that, with some a friend of mine and a cousin of mine. We went through over and over and over again. I'm surprised that cart worked. We played it so much, but boy, that game was awesome. And then the time when we finally weaned off, we were like, you know what? Let's try to do this in 3 lives. Let's see what we can do. And when we did it, we might have been 65 years old, but we fucking did it eventually, and it was great. But yeah, I have to say, Contra was one of the OG Nintendo Entertainment System games for me that simultaneously I loved and made me want to punch babies.
Yeah, it's funny, Caleb. You mentioned that because that was on my honorable mention list. So you're absolutely shredding my list.
Good. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. I'll give you your tidbit for this one. So the Konami code it was popularized by Contra, but it's not the origin.
No, it's not.
It's not. Most famously, and I say this because I don't for our younger listeners out there, it was actually by a programmer from the original Gradius, which is funny because it's another notoriously difficult NES game that came out the year prior. But when he was trying to debug the game, he couldn't play all the levels because he just sucked at the game and it was so difficult. So he developed the Konami code to help him cheat, and he forgot to take it out at the end.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Dang.
And also, like, maybe you overtuned your game, dog. If that's not a clue right there. But that was it, man. The 80s were the Wild West of gaming, like, for sure. It just, nobody gave a shit. They're like, this is going to sell. We're going to make a bunch of money. And if people fail at it a lot, they're going to keep playing it. And they were right.
Yeah. Contra, another classic. Played it again, didn't beat it. Very, very tough game. Yeah. But speaking of the 80s, the late 80s, and another very hard game when Konami was making games originally for the NES, released in 1989.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the best, Castlevania 3.
Yeah, I knew it was
Dracula's Curse.
Simon's Quest, baby.
Gotta give a shout out to old Simon and Castlevania. Another one of my favorite IPs, one that is pioneered the Metroidvania genre. Very tough game. Just like with Metroid, enemies respawn. In Metroid, I don't even think you can go left. You can only go right. That
won't cause problems.
Right. But yeah, man, these games back then were very, very hard. And it followed Simon. And of course, he's going against Dracula. Eventually goes into the castle. And it's Castlevania. And it's one of the hardest ones. And a very good NES game. So I had to give a shout out to Castlevania.
Super solid choice, man. I know you love Castlevania. That's one of your favorites. And that is a very good. If you weren't going to say 1 or 3, I was going to say 1 next time. So because Castlevania, the OG, yes, please.
Yep. Yeah. And one of my ones on the list of the honorable mentions, the modern honorable mentions, is inspired heavily by this game. Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 3 was one of the best in the 8-bit era, and just kind of perfected the 8-bit gameplay. And then after that, man, like it just got better and better and better and better.
For sure.
So, but it was kind of like, it was following Simon, and it was a gothic side scroller Metroidvania game. Or I don't know if it's a Metroidvania. It's more of a Vania.
Yeah, I was going to say Vania comes from Castlevania.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really get items and go back and progress to places that you were locked out of. So technically not a Metroidvania. It's a Castlevania.
We need a new one of those, please.
Oh, dude. So big rumors that Konami is working on another Castlevania game. We don't know the genre, but there are heavy rumors that they are working on Castlevania.
It's going to be a pachinko game. You know that, right?
No, there's rumors that they're working on legit, and they're going back to Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
They're getting Bloober Team and giving that IP and going back to Silent Hill.
That's a really good sign.
Let's tap into that Castlevania IP, man. I like Lords of Shadow, the only game that came out, Lords of Shadow. There wasn't a sequel, unfortunately. There was, and it was really bad.
Lords of Shadows is.
Yeah. No, dude, I love Lords of Shadow, and it was a third-person action adventure. It followed Gabriel Belmont, and don't want to get too much into it, but it's
good. You're right.
It's very good. I loved it. Yeah. And if they go back to that style, I'd be okay with that. I would love to see a 2D or a 2.5D side-scrolling, kind of like Bloodstained.
Sure.
But if they go to that style, that's fine. Just bring that IP back, man.
And just do it justice, right?
Exactly.
Like, I'll take any game that's good. You can make it a top-down stupid thing that I'd never would be interested in. If it's awesome, I'm going to play it. If it's Castlevania, I'm going to look at it even closer for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We thought Bloodstained, the Scarlet Engagement was Castlevania. We thought actually the Dusk Bloods was Castlevania. Yeah. So man, it's just, I'm just waiting. And I really hope it's in development. But yeah, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, is one of the best 8-bit style games that kicked off the series. So I had to give a shout out to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So
what's your factoid tidbit about this, Bob?
yeah.
All right. So it's not specifically for Castlevania 3, but I'm going to give it to you.
For the IP anyway, whatever.
Yeah, for the IP. So Castlevania 1 is where some of the I don't want to say speedrunning community started learning about Stack Overflows within programming, because you could actually there was a specific level that when you went up, depending on the state of where your character was and what they were in, it would actually roll over the digit within the 8-bit code, and then it would warp you immediately to the end.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is this
Go ahead.
Is this the one where you kneel in a certain place?
Bingo. You got it.
Yeah.
Because every one of those animation frames are held in memory in a specific storage array within that 8-bit, because you only have the 8 bits to work with on the memory. So then you can fluctuate that, and if you know what state your character is in when you go up the ladder and then come back down, it'll actually teleport you.
Yeah. And they actually did that in previous or future Castlevania games, where you would kneel and a tornado would warp you to almost the end of the game. So they played on that. So that's really cool. I didn't know the technological origin behind that. Yeah, that's really cool.
That is
God, I love your fun facts. That's awesome.
I read shit. Unfortunately, my next one, I don't really have a fun fact for you guys. This is a very obscure game. I will give you a fun fact, okay? But it'll be at the near the end. Do you guys know the meme of we have X at home? You know what I mean? Yeah, we have X at home. Well, this is the game that first gave me the ability to play multiplayer in a competitive manner with anybody, with one of my cousins. Unfortunately, and this is my fun fact, because they didn't have licensing, they weren't able to use the actual teams in this game. And that is a little game called NES Play Action Football.
Yep. Okay. I didn't know where you were going. At first, I thought you were going to say Marble Madness, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But no,
I don't know anybody else that's played this, so the fact you guys know what I'm talking about is amazing. Because the only other person I know that knows this game was probably not listening to this podcast, but that's a cousin of mine. Because we used to go to town trying beating each other up in that game. It's not I get Super Tecmo Bowl on the SNES is by far superior, and in fact Tecmo Bowl is on the NES, but in my opinion this one was better. It was more simple. There was something about pressing the buttons really, really fast to try to get your football player to run really fast across the screen. It was one of the few games that actually introduced the ability to go in a certain angle, versus traditional platforming like Mario or Metroid or Castlevania, where it was up, down, left, right. You had your 4-axis. Here, you actually had those angles to go at a different axis because of the way the football field showed. So I thought that was always really cool. It was cheesy, and it was also one of the first games that gave me some kind of a cutscene that I appreciated, where after a play, you would see just a still image where a dude's diving over trying to catch a football. I could go on about this game, but yeah, NES Play Action Football released another late 80s game, but I'm telling you, it is stupid fun. Get drunk and play with your buddies.
Dude, I haven't thought of that game in probably 30 years. Like, no exaggeration. Just like it never would have crossed my mind at all. The fact that you mentioned it makes me feel like I'm 10 again, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
All right, so my next game, I can't decide between the two. So I'm going to just pick the one that musically I carried with me, DuckTales, specifically because of the moon level. The music, all the DuckTales was great. It was a great IP. It was one of the things that they, licensed IP that they actually did pretty well with, I thought. I mean, yeah, the game was like really hard. There were some things that were really confusing. But I think a lot of that was because I was like 6 when I played it, like 5 or 6 maybe. But man, the first time I went into that moon level, I remember just standing there and listening to this like beautiful MIDI track. For all of the musicians out there that might know, I have never been able to figure out exactly what the key signature is, the time in that. And I've actually seen YouTube videos from like experts saying like, oh, it's in like 15/8 time. And I don't think that's correct. But then when I sit down and I actually think about it and listen to it, I'm like, shit, maybe it is. Like it's, it's complicated, but it also just works. And I'm not going to get into all the heavy ins and outs because I could talk about the moon theme for like 2 hours. It's awesome. But yeah, DuckTales was just a lot of fun. Scrooge McDuck bouncing on his cane as a pogo stick, like what the hell? But it was really fun to play. Except that it was hard as shit, but like still, it was one of those that I rented a million times, and then my sister bought it for me, and I was like, yeah, it's DuckTales, woo, this is great. So yeah, I have to give it to that one. That's my next choice for the 8-bit love.
That that's amazing, man. I know this game. I think I have a copy floating around here somewhere. Um,
Well, they
that's
remastered it, I think on the Wii U, maybe? I
I
might be wrong about that, but it was all
You're
right. Yeah, they did a good job.
yeah.
Brought it to today's world, and I think it got a release later on Steam, or maybe even like shit. I don't know. I know that a new one has come out. It's the same as the old game, just prettier. Like but they kept everything about what the gameplay used to be.
I I
Gotcha.
I can give you this one, Caleb. So you know this game very very well. Then don't know it as much, but you know Scrooge McDuck has a certain move that's in that game, right? Involving his cane.
You mean like the golf swing?
No, no, no. Where the jump?
Oh yeah. I do. Yes.
You know what inspired that, right?
I have no idea.
Shovel Knight.
No shit. It's like that's okay. Sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
see, now you're like, oh shit, that's the aha moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was part of the inspiration for Shovel Knight being able to jump down is because they played that game.
Yeah.
All right, yeah,
Which,
got
I mean, that's
That's
probably
awesome.
why I also loved Shovel Knight. I
it.
mean, that plus Mega Man plus all the things that Shovel Knight did well. But yeah, no, I never really
Yeah.
put those two together because it's not a cane, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Huh. Very cool. I never played DuckTales, but I recently watched an entire playthrough of it where they performed every track live.
Yes, that's
Are
cool.
you guys familiar with the band Bit Brigade?
By name, yeah, not I've never
Yeah.
like seen them live or anything, but yeah, I know
Yeah.
who they are.
So they have a unique thing. I saw this at MagFest 24, by the way, and they were live. And they have a unique thing where they have a person on stage in real time playing the game, and they rock out and perform the tracks live, what he's playing, and they will be. And they did Castlevania 3. They did the entire game, by the way. He speed runs it. They did Double Dragon.
Oh wow, okay.
They did, and then they did DuckTales. And then I saw them this year in January. They did F-Zero X, or
Ooh,
F-Zero X, and then they did uh, Super Mario World.
that's awesome.
So
Do they play like if
this
the
year,
person dies? Do they play the
yep,
die music?
yep.
That's awesome.
If you guys are, if you listeners and you guys are interested in it, look up Bit Brigade, and yeah, they'll play it, and they play like all the tracks of going to the different levels, and yeah, it's awesome. So next year at Magfest, what do you think they're gonna do? They're
I
gonna
think it's gonna
play.
be ba 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 da ba 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 da
Mm-hmm.
ba ba da ba ba da ba. That's what I think it's gonna
yeah.
Exactly.
be.
They're gonna play Mega Man X, and someone on
Oh, Mega
stage
Man
is gonna
X.
play, yeah, Mega Man X. I don't know which one, but one of them, probably the original, and yeah, they're gonna perform the soundtrack,
Well, then I
and they
sang the
were
wrong one.
really cool. Ah,
I was singing not Mega Man X. That
ah,
goes differently.
how's it go, Caleb?
Let's see. The very first thing that you would hear when you start playing the game would be like
Yep, that's right.
Heck yeah.
and so on and so forth. I am a low bass, so it's harder for me to hit those notes. But gotta give some love to the Mega Man MIDI files and even
Oh
the
yeah.
orchestral stuff that they do now. It's perfect. Some of the best music that's ever existed, as far as I'm concerned.
But yeah, that
games,
was my
I should
experience
say.
with.
I should clarify, in video games.
Oh yeah, that was my experience with DuckTales. So good shout out. Yeah, I saw them perform it, and it was awesome. And the moon theme was one of my favorites.
It's so good.
It was great. It was great. Yeah, good pick. This next one, very, very close to my heart. One of my favorite IPs of all time, probably in my top 3. I've sunk thousands of hours into this IP across 20 plus games. It came out in Japan in 1996, and it came out in the US in 1998. It was for the Game Boy system, and this is Pokemon Red.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Very nice.
So I have played, I was like 10 when this came out, actually 12 when this came out. And I played it just hooked me, man. I was that little kid with my Game Boy and had the link cable, was going to school and dude, Pokemon hooked me at a young age, and it's a turn-based RPG, and you gotta collect them all. And I've collected every single Gen 1. I mean, we're on Gen 10 now. It's getting crazy. We're up to 1,000 Pokemon, but this kicked it off. It started everything. We got red and blue, and then Japan got red, blue, and green.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got yellow shortly after. But what can I say about this game? It's one of the best turn-based RPGs in my opinion. It's one of Nintendo's biggest IPs. There's cards, there's games, there's all kinds of merch, there's spin-off games. There's been probably hundreds of Pokemon spin-off games. It's Pokemon, man. And this game hooked me at a very young age, and I still play to this day. I recently played Pokemon Violet on the Switch 2, and this is the game that started it all. And I was there with the link cable, trading over my Pokemon, and yeah, Charmander was my starter. Charizard is still one of my favorite Pokemon to this day, and he debuted on Pokemon Red.
I was going to ask you, did you pick red intentionally, specifically for Charizard? Because the only reason I started with blue was because red was sold out everywhere. Like when I went to get it, like, I mean, I really like Blastoise, like whatever, no problem. I didn't know anything about it, but I really, and blue is my favorite color. But I remember really wanting the dragon. I was like, I want to get the one with the dragon. I didn't know that it was one of the 3 starters. I had no idea at the time, but I was so bummed when I had to get blue. And then I got home and I picked Bulbasaur, actually, because I was like, well, everybody has the dragon and everybody else is going to have the guy on this cover. Who the hell's this like green fat thing? Like, I got to get that. So that was my starter. But so red was a choice. It wasn't just
absolutely
because the world made you. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the key art, right? It had Charizard on the front. And fun fact, there is a dragon type in Pokemon, but Charizard isn't dragon type.
Yeah, I know.
It's the most dragon looking Pokemon, but it's fire flying type.
Yep.
It's crazy. So not a lot of people know that it's not a dragon. It looks like a dragon. But yeah, the key art got me, and I was a little kid at the time. I was like, "Ooh, this dragon's cool."
For sure.
So, and I'm all about like fire types. I've usually chose fire type starters, and that's what kicked it off, man. So shout out to Pokemon Red. I'm still playing Pokemon to this day.
I mean, yeah,
30
what a
years
legacy,
later,
right?
Yeah.
Like that they've created. Yeah, it's a really good choice for sure.
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing.
Yep.
I guess. Oh, you guys are looking at me, huh? All right.
Yeah, you figured you're up, right?
Yeah. You already gave me my one little. You gave me
What's
my
the fun fact? What's the fun fact of Pokemon?
Yeah. So you already gave a cool fun fact. That there's only one dragon type. I could go into more in depth about like. Typically there's only supposed to be certain types that were supposed to be strong against others. That's why psychic type was so powerful, because they were supposed to have a weakness, but due to a programming bug, they didn't technically have a weakness. But Pokemon fans know that. All right. I like to think Pokemon has a great butterfly effect within our industry. And really do not understand how deep this goes. So the reason I say this is everybody's favorite creator, Tajiri, Mr. Tajiri, helped create the concept of Pokemon. But before he got started with that, he got started with Game Freak being a handmade video game magazine. They sold it out of newspaper stands. He was making money where he could, right? He fell in line with somebody, and I'm going to give you the name later. When Game Freak was having problems with developing Pokemon, Nintendo helped and came in. As part of that condition, somebody had to come to Nintendo later. You know who that man was?
Miyamoto?
I was just, yeah, I don't.
It was Iwata.
No
Oh.
shit. No shit. That's a big deal.
Interesting.
And Iwata led Nintendo through probably their golden or one of their most recent golden ages. So if it wasn't for this little Tajiri guy coming up and they were struggling, that we wouldn't have had that. I'll give you one other last fun fact just because I like Pokemon trivia more than anything. Originally, they were hoping to have, because of the way bytes, and this is a tech one for you, because it was 16 bits that were on them for memory. Every one of the Pokemon games was originally going to be sold as a single individual unit. It wasn't going to be red and blue. It was originally going to be Pokemon, and that starting bit was going to be randomized. So you could have a cartridge that was going to be edition number 1 through 65,565, which is all of those 16 bits.
Uh-huh.
And everyone, that bit was going to determine the world you were going to play. It was going to randomly generate everything.
Whoa.
That would have been nuts.
It was like an NFT,
essentially,
in the beginning.
yeah. But eventually they got talked off the ledge because of the issues with it, and everybody's favorite Mario creator said, "Why don't you just go ahead and create 2 different editions and just call it a day?"
Wow,
the man was a genius. You know, I mean, he really was. Crazy. He just saw shit before it was a problem, and wow, what a guy.
Yep. And I still have my copy of Pokemon Red. It's loose. I don't have the box because I was a little kid and it was cardboard. What can you do?
Right.
But I do still have my my copy. So a copy. It wasn't the original copy. Again, I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I still do have my original copy of Pokemon Gold though.
Hell yeah.
So, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But, that's a good pick. I knew it was coming. I just had to wait for you to come up with that one, man. I guess since it is my turn, I'll take a look at number 4 here. This game, and it's no surprise. It should be no surprise to anybody that knows me and is a gamer. This game is one of the games that drew my love for RPGs. Let's be real. If you haven't played this, if you don't know it, and that is the original, because we didn't get any until the Super NES later, and that's the original Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
This game holds a special place. It's difficult as all hell. In Pixel Remaster, it's easier with its accessibility, but try playing that on the NES on a CRT without any accessibility, and the best you can do is call Nintendo Hotline for help. It's a struggle, Buzz. It really is. What can I say about this game? There are so many different origins that come into play here. Origins of monsters. Just I could go on and on and on about this game. If you don't know Final Fantasy at this point and you're listening to this podcast, I'm curious as to why you're even here, and I thank you for being here. I'm curious. So I will say for this game, the fact is more of a correction. So a lot of people think that Final Fantasy gets its name because of being the final attempt at being in the video game industry.
I'm so glad you're talking about this. I'm so glad because yes. Preach, brother.
Thank you. That's not actually truly the case. It's highly suspected. It's highly determined, but that's not truly the case. The original name, all right, Caleb, then here it is. Do you know what the original name of Final Fantasy was?
I want to say it was Fighting Fantasy. Is that right?
My man, you're absolutely right. It was Final Fighting Fantasy, but they switched it because of trademark issues, and that's why the name Final comes in, because it became Final, and the creator was like, he was in that weird position in his life where it might have been his last, and he would have exited the game industry.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of that comes from. So this is less of a fact, but more of a correction, because sometimes we need to correct those things. For example, you will never find Mew under the fucking truck in Pokemon.
Prove it.
Right. You will find Missing No, though.
Well done.
Yep.
Man, I remember hearing all about that and not understanding like what the hell were people talking about. And then I had a friend who was visiting for the summer. He lived in Montana, and he came, and then like we would switch, go out and back. He was the kid who played young Brad Pitt in River Runs Through It. Van Gravage.
Oh,
was his name.
wow.
We were friends, and like I went out to Montana to visit, and I'd bring my Super Nintendo. Anyway, I remember he like grabbed my Game Boy and he showed me. And I was like, what the hell? Like, you're just like doing stupid shit, like breaking my file, and then Missing Number shows up out in the middle of like the ocean or where, I don't remember all the details, but I was just like, what have you done? I don't know that I ever played it again because it just like ruined my day. I was like, this is amazing. And also I hate it. Couldn't you get like infinite level up candies or something too? Like
Rare candies. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I remember weirdly, but
yeah, the item duplicate glitch.
Yeah, man. Yep. That was memories, right? No, I'm glad that you brought up fighting fantasy, Final Fantasy, because that's my favorite IP of all time. Call me a chode if you want. I just fell in love with it at a very young age. Very first one I ever played was actually Final Fantasy IV, which was 2 on the Super Nintendo in America. But I had a Japanese copy because I borrowed it from a friend who wanted to borrow my Zelda A Link to the Past, and he didn't have a game to trade me. And the system wouldn't have played a Japanese copy, so we actually swapped systems as well. And I didn't know that. I booted it up, and I was like, I can't read this shit. What am I supposed to do? But I ended up, floundering through some of the game, and I was like, I want to play this in English. This is awesome. And it was really hard. But anyway, Final Fantasy, great. The father of RPGs as far as the West is concerned, at least.
Again, you
Dragon
I'm
Warrior,
glad you know.
Dragon Quest, but but so for me, since you took that one from me, and that's fine. Good on you. I'm actually going to go a hard swing the other direction, because whether you like sports games or not, it didn't matter. This game was the staple back in the day. Punch Out. Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
I knew it.
That's another one that it was almost like hearsay between people. Be like, oh, if you like punch this guy here, it does this thing. Half the time it was bullshit. Half the time it didn't work. But then the other half the time it did. When you're fighting like King Hippo and getting his pants to fall down, you can knock him out in one hit if you punch him in the or actually I think you punch him in the stomach and his pants fall down, and then you set him up for a knockout. I actually don't remember. But like Tanaka, when he would do the charge and you'd hit him the right way and it was just an instant knockout, like the game's mechanics, another game that was very difficult. But boy, when you figured it out, when you nailed him down, that was so much fun. And I remember when they finally released one, I believe it was for the Wii, where you could use the balance board, like the Wii Fit board. A friend of mine in college brought it down to visit. He stayed in our apartment for the weekend, and like I always loved Punch Out, but he was like, "You have a Wii Fit board," and I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "It works with that," and I'm like, "Fuck that! I don't want to do that." So that night, we ended up playing the entire game, start to finish. And the next day I woke up and I was pretty sure that I was like at an Arnold Expo. I was so sore. I mean, because you're obviously like ducking and dodging and doing the thing and using the Wii remotes to punch. And that was a lot of fun. That was one of the most fun times I had in college with my buddy. We called him Rook. Jeff was his name. We called him Rook, though. And we played Punch Out. It was great. But the OG, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, hell yeah. That game was awesome.
That's amazing, dude. I knew you were going there when you said sports. Something in the back of my head, because it was either that or NES Golf.
Yeah, could have gone that. No, it was definitely Punch Out. You have any fun facts about that?
I do. Do you know why Punch Out had 2 monitors in the arcade?
I do not. I have no idea.
Because Nintendo overproduced their arcade cabinets when they were making Donkey Kong because it was such a smash success. So Nintendo's internal research and development department, R&D1, was given the task of coming up with an arcade game that they used 2 monitors so they could get rid of the excess supply.
No
And
shit.
so they decided, why don't we just put an extra monitor that shows the health of the combat? Like, it all broke down from there, and that's why Punch Out had 2 monitors.
Is that why they made a DS later? Like 20 years
Uh-huh.
later, they were like, somebody's playing Punch Out, and they're like, 2 screens, let's do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's kind of where that evolution came from.
Interesting.
There's some more stuff I could tell you about Punch Out, but I don't think they're really appropriate for this podcast.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably know where I'm going with that one.
Off the air, we can, you
Yeah.
can share with me. What about you, Matt? What you got next, buddy?
Punch Out's a great callback. Another classic. And I did play the Wii version, and I beat that one, and it was great. I never played it with the balance board. That intrigues me and doesn't make me want to go get a balance board and play it. But that's cool.
Hard.
It sounds like it. Yeah. But it's my turn to give my Mario call out, and not on a home console. This is another one on the Game Boy. One of the first I played on the Game Boy, and this is Super Mario Land 2. Yeah. So Super Mario Land 2, awesome game. One of the first I played handheld. And what can I say? It's an incredible 2D side-scrolling Mario game. All the unique worlds were really cool, collecting the coins and eventually getting to that last boss. It's one of the staples on the Game Boy and one of my favorites. And I hate to say that in this game, I actually broke my Game Boy.
Oh no!
So, as you know, in these games, they don't really save. So you can't, you play them, and then when you turn it off, you got to play it again. Right.
Yep.
So I got to the last boss. We all know who it is. And he killed me. And I was so mad. I slammed my face into my Game Boy. Like 10 years old, dude. Slammed my face into my Game Boy screen. Brought it back out. Ooh. I learned not to do that again. And that was the first rage moment in video games that I had. Unfortunately, not the last. So, yeah.
It's kind of an awesome one to have, though. I mean, as far as a story goes, like, yeah, it sucked at the time, but as a story, you learned that your head was harder than a Game Boy.
Yeah, that thing just shattered.
That's terrible, dude.
Yeah, so never replaced it. Just had to wait for the Game Boy Color, and eventually got that lime green.
Nice.
And yeah, my parents surprised me with the lime green Game Boy Color and Pokemon Gold. We opened all our presents, and then we're like, and I told them that's all I wanted is Game Boy Color, Pokemon Gold. And we opened all the presents. They're like, "Oh, how was your Christmas?" And they took about like 2 hours, and they're like, what's that present behind the couch over there? We didn't did Santa leave a different present there that you guys forgot? Went to get it, a shoebox, Game Boy Color, lime green, Pokemon Gold.
That's awesome.
One of my best Christmas memories. But yeah, Super Mario Land 2. Golden coins, or Land of the Golden Coins, or something like that.
Yeah,
6 golden coins.
Yeah,
6, right? Didn't you have to get 6 of them?
Yep, 6 golden coins in very unique levels. So, man, that tree level with the honey.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I know this game, and unfortunately, it's one of those I haven't played.
Yeah,
I just you kind of gave away my little fact. You kind of hinted at it. Sorry, this is a quick 15-second spoiler. Okay, for anybody that cares. All right, here we go. That's the origins of Warrior.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
They wanted to go in a different direction. That's why it's Wario Super Mario Land 3, or Wario Land Super Mario Land 3. They wanted to go in a different direction. You can go look at some of the history on that, but that more has to do with things like, because it was all R&D1 or back then, but that has more to do with the teams and trying to shake up the formula. And then they decided Wario because why not, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the origins of where he came from.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, he was a pain. And Oh, I was so mad.
I'll give you this one. I'll give you this. All right. Since we did talk about who the bad boss is, I sorry if you care about spoilers. Do you know where the origins of his name come from?
It's just Mario flipped.
No.
Oh.
It's a pun in Japanese.
Huh? It's what?
It's a pun in Japanese. Waru
Oh.
means bad.
Yeah.
So Wario means bad Mario.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
Warui Desne means like not good, basically, or like it's a bad thing. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's a pun in Japanese. A portmanteau, I think, is the technical term.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm not an English major.
Are you a Japanese major?
Yeah, no.
It would be portmanteau.
That's good. I like that. Man, you got so many good Game Boy stuff in there, Matt.
Game Boy was one of my favorites.
I knew he'd nail them, so I was leaving those alone.
Yeah. The first Game Boy game I played, and I'll give this as a mini honorable mention, was naturally Kirby's Dream Land.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess a final one that I have for our listeners out there. This game is very frustrating. Notoriously was not well received, but it's difficult, and I don't care because I still enjoyed playing it, even though I had no clue what I was doing. And that would be The Simpsons: Bart versus the Space Mutants.
Oh yes.
I just unlocked it. I just unlocked a core memory there, huh?
I got angry when you just said it.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. One of those cases where licensed games can go wrong, and I still think it's a great game. I have so many good memories for it. Think what would happen if you took The Simpsons and mashed it up with the movie They Live. and there's the premise for the game. You're running around as Bart, trying to take out these mutants that have kind of infected the different family or the different citizens of Springfield. There's skateboarding, which is notoriously terrible. The platforming is not great. It is an all-around mess. There are better Simpsons games, but I distinctly remember this one because you could go into, like, you had that cool X-ray thing where it's like, okay, you can kind of figure you're the only one that can determine where the space mutants are, and it was really cool to see that shutter difference. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, they can do this in an NES. They can do this. So that's what always made me appreciate it. I don't remember if I ever beat it, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I have any interest in going back and beating this one.
Don't. It's not worth your time. I mean, it's really just not worth your time.
But yeah, this is a Acclaim software shovelware nightmare of a game. I could probably think of something if I went back through some of my old notes and articles I've read over the years. Yeah, this is definitely, if you know this game, you know this game, and if you don't, stay away from it, because it is the last of the licensed Simpsons games that came out in that era.
Yeah, my cousin had it. It's the only reason I know. I never owned it, but I remember being excited because I liked The Simpsons, and when we finally tried to play it, I was like, "Where did you get this?" And, "Oh, my dad got it for me," and I was like, "Your dad hates you. I don't know why." Like, I have bad news. So, yeah.
Man, we got some interesting licensed games back then, didn't we?
We really did.
Yeah. They were just pumping them out left and right, and they really didn't give a fuck how they played.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
So, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you have any fun facts about that one, or just?
I just know that despite the fact that it was extremely difficult, it was still considered a great seller. Like it sold a lot of copies for back in the day. I think it was like something like over 1 million or something.
Yeah, for then, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a great case study of a game that sells a lot, but then people are like, what the hell? So unfortunately, I can't tell you much other than it was a disaster of a game. It was a beautiful disaster. I love it.
It is a beautiful disaster. Well,
Nice.
I guess that brings me up to, is this number 5, The Last Guy? Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, because I'm surprised that there are a few you guys haven't mentioned. I have about 6 in my head right now, and I'm trying to pick what my favorite would be. And it seems like so basic because it's Tetris.
There you go.
Tetris. I mean, Yes, like who doesn't know Tetris at this point? It's been on every platform ever, and even like the newer Tetris Effect Connected and all, like awesome. So I feel like that's almost a waste of my last choice, but I think it's one of the greatest games ever made as well. It
Mhm.
needs to be mentioned and talked about. Another one of those where you know it even if you don't know it. You know the soundtrack. You know the da, 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 you know, like everybody knows that. I mean, they know it from probably not Tetris, but you know it if you've ever played Tetris. Not much to really say about it, except I have to say one of my college friends, close college friends, was the closest thing to a Tetris master I've ever met in my life. The dude, like he brought his OG NES and hooked it up in our dorm. And you know, a couple of the guys would make fun of him, like, "Oh, you know, Caleb's got a PS2 and an Xbox and a GameCube. Like, what are you doing?" And then he would just beat the shit out of everybody in Tetris. And it was like, dude knows what's up. So yeah, my buddy Dan, he still to this day the best Tetris player I've ever known. Really, really good.
Dang.
But
Did
yeah,
he do the roll technique?
well, I don't know that he knew about it because that kid, you know, who made it known to the rest of the world, his little technique. No, I mean, he has a very I don't want to say this in a bad way, like a computer mind, the way he thinks.
Yeah.
He just knows, you know, puzzle solving is his thing. A very intelligent, super intelligent guy.
Mhm.
So I think he could just look at the board and just know like 15 moves ahead with the blocks that were coming or
Wow.
whatever. Just knew, oh, you know, 3 on the right, 2 on the left, 3 on the right, 4 on the left, 5 on the left. Like I think he just did that in his head without saying it out loud. Because watching him was actually, it was kind of an honor, to be honest. I mean, as good as I am at games, I was like, I'll take second place in Tetris to you. That's fine. Like, I'm not going to be upset. Yeah, he was good. I'll have
Dang.
to ask him. I made him play Tetris Effect here when he came to visit once, and he was like, "They turned the wrong way. I hate it." And he just immediately hated it. And I was like, "Man, I was so happy to like show you this new Tetris, and you just like shit all over my plans for the afternoon. Let's go get some chicken instead." But yeah, he still plays his OG, his NES.
Dang.
Oh man.
Did you see the documentary on Apple TV, Tetris?
Yes,
It's a documentary movie.
yeah, it was awesome. It was
Fantastic.
great. Loved it.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
fan.
So,
You
yeah,
got any
dude,
fun
Tetris
facts
is a
about
blast.
Tetris, Bob?
Not anything that documentary has not covered, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, probably
Uh,
not.
that I'll just say that documentary, that was going to be my one thing. Go look it up. The history beyond Tetris and just the roller coaster of getting this game out of the Soviet Union and getting it across, and then the licensing nightmare that happened along with the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Combining with everything is an amazing story. I think it is a really great piece of history. And you're right, Caleb. I kind of left Tetris off there. It was in my honorable mentions, so thank you for wiping another one off my plate
Sure.
because I've got a list of like 10 that I could talk about.
Oh yeah.
But this is, yeah, it's absolutely one of those greats. But yeah, go check out that Apple TV. You'll learn everything. I think it's a movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go
Even
check.
if you hate Tetris, like if you're just like that game sucks, I hate it. The documentary is still very interesting. It stands on its
Fantastic.
own. It could be about any game. Just so happens to be about Tetris, and it's done well. So
Yeah. Politics, corporate espionage, licensing, legal. It covers a lot of cool, interesting stuff.
Yeah. It's very tense, on the edge of your seat. It's an incredible movie, and it gives you a look into like the origins of the Game Boy too.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, so really cool. Yeah, Tetris. I've played Tetris. Can you beat Tetris? I
You
don't think-
technically
Yeah,
can.
you
yeah.
can.
I didn't at the time.
Right.
No way.
You've never
Right.
heard of that, Matt? Go look it up.
Uh,
You can look it up. No, there was a kid recently in the last couple of years that it was a theoretical. So when the counters hit a certain amount, what would
Mhm.
happen? But nobody had ever achieved it. This like 12-year-old kid or something, some young teenage kid did it with the original Tetris, and naturally, all that happens is you get end up with a memory overflow, and
Yeah.
the game freezes. But
Ah.
he was the first one to do it on a recorded camera.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a lot. I'm pretty sure it worked similarly to the original Pac-Man, where like once you got to the high enough level, the game would just crash because it couldn't handle it anymore. And yeah, I'm fairly certain that Tetris was the exact same way. Just nobody had done it because it was hard. It's like really hard.
Yeah.
Until this kid.
Wow.
Really cool.
Yeah. So my next one, I'm very surprised this IP didn't come up even in your top picks. It's my favorite IP of all time. It's the top one of my favorite games of all time is in this IP. It's an incredible game. There have been incredible entries recently too. I don't care what you say, Bob. But this is
I left this for you, Matt. I did.
Same here.
I did.
Same here, yeah.
The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
so good.
Another one on the Game Boy Color, I believe, 8-bit. And dude, this is one of my favorite handheld Zeldas of all time, and I loved it. It came out in it was the Oracle games came out kind of like they did Pokemon. So you got the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. One had you manipulating time, and one had you manipulating seasons. All of them have 8 to 9 dungeons. The classic Zelda formula in the vein of Link's Awakening, and they were amazing. If you beat both games, you got like this little code that you could put the code in on one of them. You when you beat one, you get the code, and then you beat the other one. It's like, do you have the code from the other game? And you put the code in, and then you get like a secret boss, which we all know who the secret boss of the Zelda game is, probably. I won't spoil it though, because I think these games are coming back.
It was
and
Tingle.
Right. And dude, why wouldn't Nintendo bring these back? Bring them both out, $60 each. In this, it now is an incredible engine, and it runs, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Zelda Link's Awakening remake. I would love to see these games remade for the Switch 2. Give me them, because
inject them into my veins, right? Like, they're so good. They're amazing choices. Yeah.
I still have my original copies to this day, complete in box. Weirdly, I saved all my Zelda boxes for some reason, just because it was like an IP that was so close to my heart. Like, it's my favorite IP of all time. I resonate with it so much, especially Twilight Princess. But yeah, these games are incredible. I would love to go back and play them. I've been waiting because I'm just hoping for those remakes on Switch 2. And I really do think they're coming. They're next up to be remade. We got Link's Awakening, and they polished and optimized the gameplay and engine in Echoes of Wisdom for the Switch 2. I wouldn't recommend it on Switch 1 because it dynamically switches between 30 and 60 frames. But man, give me these remakes. I know you guys are both big fans of Zelda, and I know you guys love these games too.
Oh yeah.
And it was first for the series, two entries that connected with each other, and it was so awesome. They're some of my favorites. Yeah,
top tier, man. Really, like I was right there with you. I bought both of them. Like I was old enough that I had saved up my own money, and it was one of those I couldn't decide, and I was like, well, then I'm not gonna decide. I'm not making Sophie's choice for that. I'm buying both of these bitches, and I didn't know about the code until I had played Ages first. I'm pretty sure I did Ages first, and then I was like, what devilry is this? So yeah, it was really, really good choice. Those are excellent games.
Yeah, and unlike the Pokemon versions, they're two completely different games.
Yeah.
Like, they're not the same game, but slight differences. Two completely different games. And I will buy them again, both of them. I bought them both too. So, Bob, I know you love these games.
I'm looking back at some of the screenshots right now just because I'm trying to remember which one was which. You're absolutely right. These were great games, and I think you and I have talked about this before. I would love to see these come back. And I know what my heart says. These would be great. I also know what my gut says, and I got a feeling it's something else that came out on a later Game Boy system. But
Minish Cap.
Yeah, Minish Cap.
No, okay,
Yeah.
We can't skip the Oracle games though. Minish Cap was after.
You're absolutely right. So that's why I'm hoping they don't skip it, because these are games that weren't they're not as well known in the zeitgeist of the video game community as far as I've seen. I know it's one of those these two are the games that if you know them, you love them and you played them, and if you don't know them, they just kind of zoom by you, right? Because these are Game Boy Color games, which means that was stuck in that sweet, weird spot between Game Boy and then Game Boy Color to the Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Color was popular, don't get me wrong, but Game Boy Advance kind of really took things off, right?
Sure.
But
Oh yeah.
absolutely, I'd love to see him. I get you guys are probably sitting here like, well, what do you got, Bob? What do you got? I'm gonna bet that's what you're asking, huh?
Where's your fun fact?
I mean, I
All
kind of
right.
wanted to know what you had.
Yeah,
I'm
since these are
not gonna
Game Boy
lie.
Color games, I'm gonna give you the 8-bit fact to this. All right. I mean, specifically to the 8-bit. This goes to a series, and this is related because it's a series. You guys remember Zelda 2?
Of course.
Link's Adventure or Adventure of Link.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the notorious villager where he calls himself by a name? Do you know what he
Yes. Shit. What was his name? I know exactly what you're talking about. I can like see the scene in my head. Damn it. Not gonna get it.
All right. So he says his name is I am Error.
Error. That's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a programming bug.
Mm.
Okay.
It's translation, and this is why localization is important. Because there's supposed to be another villager whose name is Bug. Bug
Oh,
and Error. They're puns for
Okay.
computer programming.
Yeah.
sure.
That's why localization is important, folks.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah.
I just
Very
always
cool.
giggled like an idiot when I was a kid and ran into I am Error. I'm like, okay, dumbass. Like it just no, I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. That was the original intent and joke. Is there's another villager in one of the towns, and I don't remember where, but basically his name is supposed to be I am Bug, and it's Bug and Error, which are supposed to be programming jokes. They were
Sure.
being cute, but the localization screwed up, so that's why it's lost.
Gotcha.
You gotta love it.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, these are the Oracle games. They revolved around the goddesses. There's 3 goddesses. Well, if you play Skyward Sword, there's a 4th one too. But there's 3 goddesses, and seasons revolved around Din, the goddess of fire. Ages revolved around Nehru, the
Mhm.
goddess of water.
Water, yeah.
And but then if you connected them, you got Furore, the goddess of earth. So wisdom, power, and courage, of course. The Triforce. So yeah, they were awesome. But that was a cool fun fact on the Adventure of Link, Zelda 2.
For sure.
Let's wrap this up with I do want to talk about our honorable mentions real quick. If you have them. I have them. I have some modern ones that people can play right now, and some that haven't even released. So if you guys have honorable mentions, fire away.
Okay, I guess I was going to say, if we're going to continue the same, it's there. So I got 2 that I wanted to mention real quick. These are classics. I'm willing to bet Caleb knows what I'm talking about on these ones. You too, Matt. First one is going to be Battletoads and Double Dragon, the ultimate fight. When it comes to platformers, that's difficult. Number 1, right? Like that's NES difficulty. And the other one that I wanted to talk about, because I had a whole list that I could have pulled from, but it was the one game the other game that gave me rage bait, but not as much as the previously mentioned ones, and that's Skate or Die.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
I remember,
no.
Yeah,
But
I remember that box cover art and was like, man, this looks rad. This screams 90s, like radical kind of extremism and teenage rebellion. So you guys got everything else for me. So I am going to leave the well hands and pass it off to you, Caleb, if you got anything.
Yeah, so these are mostly honorable mentions for just not necessarily like, oh, these are my favorite games, but again, the iconic for me growing up where I was like, where did this come from? The first one was Blaster Master. I like that game was so cool that I honestly think that got me interested in science fiction. Because I played that when I was pretty young, and just this like, science experiment, like frog goes away and the kid chases after it. Like what, it was just weird. It was weird as hell. The game was hard. It was very hard. I don't know that I ever beat it when I was a child. I know that I beat it when it came out on like Virtual Console or whatever. I definitely did then, but man, that game it was just neat. I wouldn't say it was good. I'm not going to say it was good. It was neat. Another honorable mention, that when we were talking about licensed IP, Batman.
I knew it.
Remember
I
the
knew
Batman
it.
for the NES? Like, Jesus
Oh yeah.
Christ, that game was hard. Uh, you know, I don't really have much to say about it except it was cool to play as Batman when you were a kid, even if it wasn't the most fun game in the world. The first two stages, because nobody ever got past the first two stages. Just that's what you remember. Other honorable mentions. I'm probably gonna get the name wrong. I think it was called California Games. It was either
Yes. No,
California.
you're 100% right.
Yeah, that I played with my older cousins who lived down the street, and they're anywhere between 6 and 12 years older than I am, something like that. So they had that at their house, and I remember like watching them play, and they weren't very good at games, but nobody was good at those games then. I'm not. It's not a slight, but I remember it's just like a weird core memory. We're like, oh, I'd go down to my Aunt Nancy's house and watch them play California games and not know what the hell was going on. Um, some of the other honorable mentions from IPs that we didn't really touch on. I'm trying to stick to the NES because I figured Matt was going to be the Game Boy guy, but the one Game Boy game that I wanted to go to, and he already touched on the IP, but my actual favorite original Game Boy game was The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Link's Awakening. It was very different from all the other Zeldas at the time. I mean, not that there were that many compared to now, but it was like you got musical instruments instead of pieces of some artificial power. Like you had to play this music to literally, I mean, spoilers for a 30-year-old game, sorry everybody, but like you like have to wake up this thing by playing music. And if you beat area 1, dungeon 1, 2, and 3, and then you tried to go wake the thing up, it would like play part of the song with the instruments. But like, so it like sounded cool. So as a musician, when I was a kid, every dungeon I would go back to like be like, what does it sound like now when you add the drums, or what does it sound like now when you add the flute, or whatever it was. And then of course when you're nearing the end of the game and you like play the whole thing and it just comes together and you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. Not something I ever expected in a Zelda game, honestly. Like it just didn't cross my mind until I played it. And the fact that you got like this feather that let you jump, which was not a thing in Zelda, really. Like it was just different. It was unique. It was different. And the very first time I played it, I not stole it out of spite, stole it out of boredom. My friend's Game Boy, when we were at a piano recital, we were playing piano recital in a church, and we didn't want to be there anymore after we played. So we like snuck to the back and went up to the risers like above on the second floor, and we were up there just playing Zelda: Link's Awakening. And then his mom came in and yelled at us for not paying attention, which was hilarious. But then he let me borrow his Game Boy in that game so that I could finish it because I got further than he did, and he was like, I want a completed save file. Take this. So I had to at least touch on my absolute favorite of the Game Boy games. Not my favorite Zelda, though. That's not a big game. It was A Link to the Past, for what it's worth.
Oh yeah,
Good
SNES.
choice.
Yeah, awesome call out. And if you want to play Link's Awakening, it runs beautifully and looks beautiful on the Switch too. And it looks so much better than on the Switch One and runs so much better. I'm actually debating on going through and playing it again
That's awesome.
because it's an incredible game. One of my favorites. Seasons and Ages barely is above that because I loved Link's Awakening.
They're probably better games, like, objectively. They're Ages and Seasons. It's just a core memory of Link's Awakening,
Hey, man, it's all subjective, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Link's Awakening, Switch 2, highly recommend it. I might revisit that. But when, right?
Right.
Yeah.
June 26th is when you're going to revisit it. Just
yeah, exactly. I don't have anything then.
Yeah, nothing going on. If I may, Matt, I
Sure.
did miss one, and just give me 1 second.
Please. Okay.
Oh, he's gonna go
He's
get it.
grabbing it off the shelf.
Little show off over here. I love it.
Hoping you'd show this, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So this, for perspective, is the very first game that I actually got to play on the NES when I picked it up. It took me 30 years to finally beat it because it is notoriously that difficult. All of my parents, like all the adults in my life, couldn't figure out how to beat it. Right. And that would be Shadowgate.
Oh, look at you.
Complete in box right there.
So this is it's not a rare game by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a notoriously difficult game where you are selecting menus, say, pick up this item, and then you have to click on the screen. It was originally designed for like PC movement with mice, but I only wanted to shout it out because if it wasn't for this game, I probably wouldn't be playing video games. This is what caused me to beat my head into the ground. This is probably why I like Miyazaki shit so much, just because of this. But I just had to call that out.
Mad respect, Shadowgate. Thanks for bringing Bob into the fold. You did it.
It kicked off your gaming career. That's awesome.
For a second, I thought you were going to hold up Bubble Bobble, and I was going to be like, that game was weird as hell and hard too. But no,
if only I had a copy of that.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to show Nintendo Track and Field.
I could go grab that. All right. I guess we'll give that one as well. I don't have it with me. It's going to require me to get, so I can't get up and get it. But I do have a North American copy, so NTSC version, which is extremely rare, of Track and Field, which previously was known as Stadium Events.
That game caused my Nintendo to reset so many times because you'd like run in place, when you had the mat, and then it would just your Nintendo would just reset, and you're like, son of a bitch, I was gonna jump 1,000,000 feet, and it didn't work.
Yeah, it's because everybody they were pounding so hard the vibrations caused the Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I have a state that's the prime the masterpiece of my collection. I paid pennies on the dollar for it.
Yep. Crazy. Those are all good honorable mentions. I'm going to take it back from the 80s and come all the way into slightly modern times. A little game came out in 2018 from the dev Sabotage Studio.
Nice.
Called The Messenger.
Yep.
Very nice.
And I don't, it's 8-bit, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil this. Bob hasn't played it, and he really needs to.
Oh, yeah, you do.
In the vein of Ninja Gaiden, not as hard as Ninja Gaiden, but it has an incredible twist about a quarter of the way through the game. Awesome writing. There's a little thing at the end teasing their next game, which was Sea of Stars. And this is the game that started it all with Sabotage Studio and put them on the map. Just an awesome game. This was actually recommended to me by our friend Bo, and I'm so glad I played it. And Bob, you really have to play this game. I'm telling you. But when? I know.
June 26th.
Awesome game. Right. And Caleb, you played this game, right?
I did. I didn't play it on my PlayStation. And I've actually considered buying it on the PlayStation just to go through again now that I have done all the Sea of Stars, and because I think Sabotage is just they're awesome. They don't get enough praise, even though they get a lot of praise, and they should. They deserve it. But no, the Messenger was really good. I actually played it. I think it was on my Switch when I used to work in an office, and I would sneak in my Switch in downtime and I'd play through it. And
awesome.
I was like, this game rules. this game is so good.
Yeah, I've seen videos and stuff on this. This game has had my attention since 2018, right? Like,
you need to get it
on my list.
Yeah, as it should. You got to play it. Can't wait to hear what you think about it. I'm still going to stick with modern. These are kind of like my modern honorable mentions. And another one is inspired by one of my retro ones on the list, Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. The father of Castlevania, Koji Igarashi, created a IP called Bloodstained. He released Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, but then he also released an 8-bit prequel called Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Not Circle of the Moon, that's Castlevania. Curse of the Moon. Incredible. Amazing game. Just one of the best times I've had with it's basically a Castlevania. So highly recommend it. Did you play this, Caleb?
So I own it, and I actually never did because it was on PC first, right? Like, didn't they do a PC release during the Kickstarter? And I got a code, like as a backer, because yes, I backed Bloodstained, and it was awesome. I'm pretty sure you had pointed out to me like the second day that it went live, and I was like, why aren't we funding this ourselves? This game looks awesome. So, we both backed it, and it was great. But I had a PC at the time, and even though it's not that intense, my graphics card died when I got the codes. So I was like, shit, I can't play anything. And like a few weeks later, I got a new graphics card, And then by then, other stuff was out. I was playing on PS3 or 4, whatever was going on at the time. And so I never actually did get to play it, but I hear it's great. You've told me it's great. I should probably just boot it up. Do you know if it runs on Mac? Like, I have the code on Steam. It's like I could probably play it.
Probably, yeah. There's a Steam launcher for Mac.
Or I could just go buy it. I don't. Yeah.
There you go.
PS4. I have the sealed PS4 copies because I got them digitally.
Yeah.
And when I say them, there's also a sequel, Curse of the Moon 2. It's 16-bit. But these were stretch goals in the Kickstarter. And yeah, when I saw Bloodstained, and we're getting a sequel next year, The Scarlet Engagement.
I did want to ask you, do you know if it's a sequel or a prequel?
Oh, that's a good question. Chronologically, I don't know, but it's the next game.
Yeah, we're getting another one, which is all I care about. Right. And then reading into the trailer a little bit, I was like, I think this is a prequel. But
I could see that.
I was curious if you knew, because I wasn't sure.
Wait a minute.
What?
Am I seeing this right? Sorry, I'm seeing. I'm looking at Messenger and all that. I'm catching up to you. Is Sea of Stars a prequel?
Yes.
Yeah. We weren't going to say anything.
Yeah. We'll edit that out. Oh, wait. We're unedited. So guess what?
I'm sorry.
All good.
Guys, if you all right, I'm 100% putting this went to the top of the backlog for the year.
Well, now that you know that, if you play the DLC for Sea of Stars, the most recent one that came out, don't watch the very end. End. Play the messenger first, and then watch the very end.
All right, so I'm going to go play the messenger first, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, it's not really a spoiler. It hits you differently when you know.
Exactly. I get it. 100%. It's like telling people to play Metal Gear Solid 3 because it's because it's chronologically comes first, and it's like, no, it doesn't hit as good until you play 1 or 2.
Yeah, that was my only problem with Dragon Quest 3 being the first one that they released in HD 2D, because I was like, guys, you've told everybody it's chronologically first, but like when I played 1 and 2 and then played 3, I was like, get out of here. Like it hits you differently. So, whatever. They are old, so I kind of get it.
Yep. Those were 8-bit. Yeah. So
I did have a question for both of you, actually, on this 8-bit thing. The reason this game was not on my list is because I honestly don't know if it was officially 8-bit.
Yeah.
Celeste.
16, I think.
Okay.
I think 16.
We'll look it up.
But that was one that I was like, that was like a really, really, really good, more of a modern day. It's in the midpoint now.
It does. Oh, no. This is so I can't find anything directly, but it is. Yeah. It is technically an 8-bit. Like, if you look at the art style, I would see this is close enough. I've heard a lot of good things about this one, by the way.
It's really good. I mean, that was like a magical game when it came out, for sure, especially because it had been a long time since we had seen, like, this was one of the resurgences of pixel art, and 8-bit art, like, coming back into the forefront, along with like Shovel Knight and stuff. But Celeste was one that I was going to at least honorable mention. Then I thought, well, I'm going to look like an idiot if it's a 16-bit game. So I didn't want to confidently say, but I thought it was 8-bit. So
it was originally developed with the Pico 8 in mind.
Okay.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. That's another good call out. My last one is actually, we're going to jump in the future, because this isn't out yet. Comes out on Halloween, and it's another Kickstarter.
Nice.
That I think I showed you. And speaking of inspirations, this game is heavily inspired by games that we've talked about. Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, heavily inspired by Zelda. This game is made by Yacht Club Games. It's called Mina the Hollower.
Boom.
And you recently drafted this, so you have faith in this game, as I have the first moment I saw it. It's taken a long time to develop, but I am all in day one. I already kickstarted it, so I'm getting a digital copy. I'll probably pick up a physical copy if that ever releases. But man, top down, Zelda inspired.
It's gonna be great.
You're a little mouse, and it's awesome. Bob, are you excited for this game?
Yeah, I haven't played too much of. I know I'm going to get yelled at. I haven't played too much of Shovel Knight. I have played a little bit of it, but Mina the Hollower, it's different. It's different enough. I will say the maps layout and everything kind of gives me a Hades vibe. So and I loved Hades, so I'm absolutely on board for it. Yacht Club has got great art, great art style, great music, and they have personality.
Yeah.
Oh, and the gameplay is fun. I'm
Yep.
sold.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's going to have dungeons. I think it's really heavily inspired by Zelda. And the dev has actually said, we have been inspired by Zelda, and this will be kind of a spiritual successor. So, and it looks like it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that game, I don't really think about this normally when I'm like, I buy stuff because I want to play it because I think it looks good. If somebody scores it a 60 and I still have a great time, I don't really care. I just think it sucks for the studio when that happens. But it's kind of easier nowadays to say, I think that game's going to get at least an 88. Like that's the number in my head. I'm actually, my real number is 89. I think it's going to be an 89. And I think it's going to deserve it because it just looks good. And like you said, they have personality. They know what they're doing. They've proven that before. And the trailer that we got to see, was it 2 weeks ago? Like when they announced the release date, really, I was like, oh, there it is. Thank you. Like, I didn't need to see more. I didn't actually need to see as much as they showed. I was already on board, but yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's a good choice to come out around Halloween. I don't know why, because it's not like a creepy game, but it is. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It just gives me that feeling. It evokes, there's a lot of reds and blacks in the color palette. So for some reason, I feel Halloween.
Yep. And it's so awesome to see Kickstarter games succeed and release what they say they're going to release. Looking at you, Mighty Number 9. But yeah, Bloodstained, Mina the Hollower. There's been all kinds. Sea of Stars.
Yeah, it was Kickstarter.
It was a Kickstarter. So yeah, those are awesome. But yeah, what do you say we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think because these jamokes were kind enough to let me join them for this conversation. I think I took up a little bit more time than they planned on. So, oops.
No worries. No worries. We had fun. It was a blast from the past. We were, very nostalgic. I loved it. And I'm glad you could join, Caleb.
Yeah, no, thanks for the extending the olive branch. It was cool. It was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. You brought a lot of good perspective, and it was a good episode for you to join. So, Bob, we had some fun, and thanks for this topic. It was your idea.
Yeah, great
amazing
idea,
topic. Really. I had a blast, and most importantly, you've heard what our games are, what our favorite games are. Go on the Discord. Let us know what your favorite 8-bit titles are. Let's start a conversation about it. What are some awesome games from your childhood? Or what modern 8-bit games have you played that we might not have heard of? Because these are usually some pretty obscure indie titles that you're learning about for the first time. So yeah, 8-bit is where it all started. It's the root of video games, and we couldn't be more excited to talk all about the video games that basically got us into gaming. So
$20 says somebody yells at us for not talking about Undertale.
Oh yeah.
Although I actually don't know if that's 8-bit or 16-bit.
Deltarune too. Yeah.
I think it's 8, but either way.
It's close enough. It's in that art style, and I'm pretty sure I already know one listener because he's playing the hell out of Deltarune right now. So I'm pretty sure it's already going to be coming.
Well, maybe this conversation right now mitigates him yelling at us just a little bit.
If someone yells at us, we'll know they didn't listen to the whole episode because it's at the end.
That's true.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Yep. So yeah, thanks again so much for joining us, Caleb.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you. Thanks for your time. And this has been fun. Go play those 8-bit games. They're important. And above all else, keep talking about them and keep on gaming and keep the conversation going.
Peace.
Adios.
Shapes of Gaming is a podcast shaped around gaming and, most importantly, our community. That's you. It is written, created, and recorded in beautiful Colorado Springs, Colorado, by me, Matt Stenson, and my good friend Bob Harriman. If you would like to be part of this amazing community, be sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on all the social media platforms or the podcast app of your choice. Thanks so much for listening, and always remember, keep the conversation going, and most importantly, keep gaming.